And we are live.
Supposedly we're live right now. Hey, everybody, what is going on? Welcome to Thursday night. It is PM in the PM. Let me know if you guys can hear me okay. Mav said I was sounding low to him in his ear, but that could just be his earpiece. I turned myself up a little bit, but I don't want to blow your eardrums either. So please let me know if we are sounding okay. But
I think
listen,
we're good
everybody.
now because I can see the levels. Yeah.
Awesome. Mav is saying we are good. So tonight, it is July the 13th. That is right. We are almost to the halfway point of July. And boy, oh boy, full disclosure, folks, before we get into things here and get Mav, but full disclosure tonight, a couple things. Number one, the FTC has gotten so desperate. Since we're going to be talking about this, we actually got documents from Lina Kahn today here at PM in the PM. She wants us to step in and actually grant a preliminary injunction. That's how desperate they have gotten over there. So, but I had to get that out of the way. Full disclosure, because we are going to be talking about the subject tonight. We might have a decision on air live tonight for Lina and her group over at the FTC. And also, Mav felt so bad today for Lina that he has generously decided to donate every super chat to her future Kickstarter for the FTC to cover the approximate 200, 300 million shortfall she is now going to have since she was asking for a 37% increase. And she was informed today live that they're going to be decreasing her funding by 25%. So that's right. Tonight, every super chat, get your wallets out, everybody. I know everybody wants to help out the FTC tonight. So every super chat will be donated to the Lina Kahn Kickstarter. Help the FTC do better. That's what we're going to do tonight, folks. So we're ready to rock and roll here. It's going to be a good night. It's going to be a fun night. Mav, brother, fun speculation. The network that continues to grow. How you been, man? How's your week been? What you been up to?
Well, this is news to me, Pong.
Oh, well, that's not what you said to me behind the scenes?
Well, you weren't supposed to tell everybody that we're
well,
secretly...
I thought it would spark more super chats, right? Who doesn't want to donate to Lina?
That's true. That is true. I mean, she does seem so desperate and needy. She might as well be holding a sign outside of a gas station that says "Need gas, please."
I'm saying, and you had gator tears. I told you not to get rid of those gator tears because they would have gone the extra mile here.
Yeah.
As you asked for donations for Lina and the FTC.
Yeah. I want to make sure that people are absolutely clear. We are not funding the FTC. No, we will make a decision on the preliminary injunction later in the show, though. That's for sure. Yeah, I've been doing good, man. I made a new character in Diablo yesterday because I hit level 100.
I saw that. I saw Jasper saying you needed to touch grass because he power leveled you to 50.
Yeah, I wanted just to see, like, I'm trying to experiment with the characters to see what I want to play for season 1, right?
Right.
And there's nothing left to do at level 100 now. We tried to run against Lilith real quick, and it was not gonna happen.
Ultimate Lilith.
Yeah, it ain't gonna happen.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, let me see what else we can do. I made a necromancer, and started at level 1. But you kind of get those 10 ability points early on to kind of boost you, because it did all the renown stuff. And called in Jasper. He came in and we ran. By the time we ran through the capstone.
Yeah.
We ran through the capstone right away.
Right.
And then we went right away to the World Tier 4 capstone.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time I was done with both capstones that Jasper just ran through for me real quick, I was already like level 27.
Wow.
And then we just ran a couple of like tier 30 something nightmare dungeons.
Yeah.
And I hit level 50. So it less than an hour, I think, of playing.
It's good to know.
I think I hit level 51. And this was with me having to keep stepping away because I had stuff going on as well.
Right.
It was nuts, man. So I was just messing around with that, and it was actually pretty fun. And but now then Jasper abandoned me, and then I had the realities of trying to play the game by myself, and then I actually had to learn how to play as my character and stuff. So then it didn't go as smooth.
Of course.
So I'll have to get some power leveling buddies again.
Did you like Necro or no?
I'm still learning it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I even though I've spent so much time to get to level 50, I feel like I really have not had much time to really get a grasp on if I like it or not. I have no good loot right now for the character. I have no good aspects, nothing that works towards any build. I have a couple things, but this is just random stuff. So I'm going to probably play a little bit just to see what a decent build, at least feels like. But besides that, man, I've been just playing this and that. A lot of Diablo, though, for the most part. I'm still hooked. I was really wanting to hit 100. Did that on stream the other night.
Okay.
So, yeah, that was fun.
Nice.
We had a fun stream the other night. It was like one of those old school streams, Pong.
Nice. Sorry I missed it, man. It's been one hell of a week.
Psycho had us dying.
I'm sure.
He was telling a story, and
I saw the clip. I saw the clip in the DMs. I did see that. I was
fantastic.
Yes. I was like, Psycho, where are we going with this?
Yeah. And what you just see is like right there where like Jasper ended the clip. You got to see like after that, you got to keep watching because we all just absolutely died. Like I'm sure we were dead. I'm sure it was great. But yeah, what have you been up to, man?
Not a whole hell of a lot, man. Been still playing around with potentially a future Game of the Year contender in Baldur's Gate 3. I have put some more hours into that, but not a whole lot. But crazy good. I did find the limitations of the early access, by the way. It's not the full map. So there are limits to it. I found those limits, but there is so much content already in early access. It's unbelievable. And it is straight up old school Baldur's Gate when it comes to consequences for your decisions. Things can go sideways and very badly, very fast. Yeah. Again, I will tell anybody who is looking to jump into this game on release, or if you're going to jump into early access, become a save whore. You need to be a save whore. This is the reason why all of us old heads have that problem, that we do not trust the game and we continuously save. And I'm not saying that because the game deletes saves or loses time, but I'm not joking. You can be feeling really good about what you're doing, and then you make a decision in a conversation, and within 5 minutes, your entire party's dead. Okay. That's how this game goes. So they don't pull any punches here at all. But this game is phenomenal. Larian Studio, shout out to Larian for what they did here. I actually did have one of the sex scenes, man, not the bear, everybody, but I did have a normal sex scene. And for anybody trying to say that they're not graphic, it's pretty graphic, folks.
Yeah, you see a lot of nuts hanging.
Well, I'm a lady character, of course. So I had two ladies, of course. But we're talking full 69, everybody. So I was like, oh wow, they are. Yeah, this is definitely mature rated here, folks. So I can't imagine what they did with the freaking bear. I'm glad they cut that scene off early. Anyways, Baldur's Gate 3 is phenomenal. I think it's definitely going to be in Game of the Year conversation at the end of the year. If the full game is anything close to this is straight up D&D, straight up old school. Just brings you back. Yeah. I know, Mav, you were playing it with we were playing separate games. I actually got you to download it on
got jealous, and I had to get it after, and then I was blown away. Only other thing I'd say is this game has cemented to me that I desperately need a new PC before Starfield comes out, because it was running good, and then I got into this other section, and then it was going in between like 40 and 60 frames up and down all over the place and stuff, and I was like, okay. And this is even at medium, so I don't want to play games less than that,
right. So. No, it makes total sense, but the game's gorgeous, and the game is so highly detailed, it's not even funny. Again, the environments themselves are almost as detailed, I would say, on the par with Diablo, but you're even up more close. than in Diablo, obviously, because you can zoom in. You can actually it almost becomes third person at certain points outside of battle. And I figured out how to do the overhead map now too, so you can actually get a full overhead.
Oh,
Really
right.
old school, so you can scroll and you can see what you're looking at, so you can kind of plan out your battles. Because again, the further I get in this game, some of these battles you really do need to think about. I've had to restart a bunch of them because I was like, oh nope, that strategy is not going to work here. I'm going to get mauled. So yeah, no, that's pretty much all I've been doing. I did download, but I have not played them yet. But I did. ID at Xbox obviously had their showcase this week. Of course, the same day that the decision came down to block the PI, they were doing the ID at Xbox. So I'm sure plenty of people out there forgot or didn't even pay attention to it. But 40 plus demos. I downloaded, I think, 11 games out of that list already that I want to try. So I am definitely going to be deep diving that as well, and trying out a bunch of those games. Sea of Stars, obviously one of them. Shout out to Brother Psychonauts, game of the year for him already. Hasn't even released yet. But I've also downloaded like Slave Zero X, and there's a bunch of really cool looking games. There's a bunch of strategy games in there, Crosstails tactics style games, Mav, that you definitely might be interested in. Demon School, I did download that one as well. It looks like kind of like a Persona ripoff in a little bit of a way, but looks kind of fun. There's another one in there that's an RTS strategy mix called Black Sandlands, I believe it's called. Looks super dope. You got like airship battles and stuff, but in a almost not, I want to say anime style, but definitely cartoonish style, but looks fantastic. So downloaded those as well. But yeah, pretty much for me, it's been Baldur's Gate 3. When I've had an opportunity, it's been an ultra busy week. I did hop into last weekend. I hopped into some Star Wars Empires at War.
Yeah.
What do we say, Matt? 17 years old now? Jesus, man.
Yeah, it's crazy how old.
Yeah, old RTS game, never got to play before because I didn't have a PC back then and my buddies weren't playing it, but I always watched it and read up on it because, of course, me being the Star Wars fan. And it was on Steam for $4 or whatever the hell it was.
Cheap. Yeah. I think it was like $7.
$7. Yeah, $7. Downloaded that, fooled around with that, still holds up. That's the best part about RTS's, map. Like, they all hold up. Sure, you can say, well, the graphics don't look as high fidelity or as detailed as they could be nowadays, but the gameplay doesn't change in RTSs.
Yeah.
So as long as the gameplay, the strategy side, the AI is set up properly, even 17 years ago, it still plays great today. And as somebody who never got to play this game, this is my generation of Star Wars. It freaking is so damn cool. We even got Jasper to jump back into it because we heard us talking about it. And so he was going nuts on chat the other night. It was pretty funny, actually. Yeah, no, that's been pretty much it for me. Can't think of anything outside of that. Like I said, real life being real crazy right now, and is what it is. But Baldur's Gate 3, I'm telling you, folks, don't dismiss this game. I know everybody's going to be jumping into Starfield, but if you are looking for that classic CRPG, this is a AAA version of what we used to get. Like Mav agreed when he jumped into it. They just don't spend money like this on games that are CRPGs. This is going to be setting the bar going forward, and potentially a lot more people are going to be making CRPGs in the future if they have success with Baldur's Gate 3, which I think they're going to.
Yeah.
This game is special.
Honestly, a dream come true game, type game for me. The amount of effort they put into making it, it really shines through. It's again, I've talked about Neverwinter Nights, which was one of my favorite games from back in the day. On PC as an old BioWare CRPG, and this is like that on steroids for me, right? It's just like everything I liked about the genre. It has the D&D vibes, right? I was thinking it's going to be a lot like Divinity, but that you definitely get the D&D feel with this game all the way through, and it has a little bit more of that darkness behind it, right?
Bro, it's brutal.
It's
absolutely brutal.
I mean, there's a scene very early on. It's just like, whoa, okay.
Yes. There's more.
Yeah. And I can't wait to keep playing this. This will be a game I'll play off and on for a long, long time. And Starfield is still my most anticipated game.
Yep.
But this one, has been on my radar for a really long time. I've been excited about it. And what a pleasant surprise it is in the early access version right now. So I can't wait to get the full access and play it.
Did you
So,
play through the whole Druid's Cove or no? I know you were in there. Did you actually get out of the Druid's Cove? Did you actually do
you know
stuff
how
in there?
bad my memory is. I
Yeah,
think
I know how bad your memory is. That's why I was asking you. I don't. If you don't remember, whatever.
I know I ended it right around there.
Yeah.
I think I left and I ended it like right then.
The whole, for me, like I don't know what happened. I don't know if it was some of my decision making or
Yeah.
what. But I was in the middle of thieving, stealing a bunch of shit, and those druids finished up. You know how they were doing their ceremony or whatever else. That's what they were doing, and all the tieflings were trying to decide whether they're going to stay or leave. Right. All of a sudden, the druids got done with that thing, and all of a sudden, it was like literally, I got a cutscene, this quick cutscene where one of the druid leaders, I forget their name, starts yelling out, kill all the outsiders. And everybody in that entire place map, that entire place
turned on you.
Started fighting each other.
Oh, really?
No,
Wow.
started fighting each other. Druids started attacking the tieflings and stuff that were housed there. So everybody picked a side. There was battles everywhere. People were killing off each other. And I could loot all the bodies and I could help out. And like that was the entire thing. And then I want to bring this up too, because Larian talked about this, how they said that depending on what decisions you make, even down to your race, could impact your gameplay as you go from different place to different place, depending on what your characters looked as. Man, I was hunting. I had to get into the goblin camp, right? So I was going to sneak into the goblin camp, right?
Yeah.
Not even thinking, because why I'm pointing this out, everybody, is because this is a style game. This is a sandbox aspect of this game. This is how far Larian has gone with the, actual workings, the mechanics behind the scene, the stuff that we don't ever see, to make this game a realistic experience. I'm Drow, right? Or Dro, depending on how you pronounce it. It's pronounced Drow in the game. I used to call it Dro, but whatever. Doesn't matter. So I'm Dark Elf. So I was planning on sneaking in with my group and trying to take a bunch of goblins out, pre-advance. I wound up getting caught sneaking in. But the goblin was like, "Oh, Drow, you're here. Open the gates. Another Drow's here." And they opened the gates to let me in. And I could walk around freely in the goblin camp.
Nice.
And talk to everybody. I didn't have to fight a damn thing, Mav, in the goblin camp. I could even go to the leader, and the leader happened to be Drow too. She's one of the generals. She's one of the main NPC. She's actually the one that I wound up sleeping with. But I could just walk freely. No, she's not. She's Drow. She's Drow. So, but yeah, no. So I could just walk freely through the camp, have conversation. I could sell things to the goblin freaking the goblin dude who basically had stolen everything and was selling everything off and buying things. So I could deal with him. And I actually snuck my way into their treasure room, picked the lock because nobody cared that I was there. So that nobody was watching me. So I got to pick the lock and go steal all their treasure. I got a bunch of magic items and everything.
Oh, nice.
Bro, this is the type of game. This is so good, man. It is so good. Anyway, sorry, side tangent there, but it was so freaking fun the other night when I was going through. So yeah, man, that's been pretty much my week and yours. I hope everybody in the chat has had a phenomenal week. Do we got any super chats in there yet?
Yeah, we got one
Lina
from
Kahn. We got some Lina Kahn donations.
Awesome. Booty Hunting Click. Shout out to Vic with the $5 donation to the FTC. Says, amazing day, guys. Wasted my tax money the last couple days, but today it was well spent. Appreciate you.
Lina appreciates that $5.
Yeah,
it's going to her.
Yeah,
so
we're starting a collection fund for the FTC right now.
Oh my god. Anyways, who else we got in here? We got Cullen Prime, we got Sean T, we got Poison Maniac, we got Polly Baba jumping on in here. We got Sanchez MTZ Gaming. What's going on? We got Nixie. Nix, did you really change your name to Nixie? All right, Nixie. What's going on, Nixie? Great to see you in here. It's Timmy. It's Timmy's in the house. What's going on, Sean T? Yes, I'm playing the early access version, sir. Yes, I am. Gerald Mack, what is going on, brother? Salute to you, sir. Great to see your face in here. Caloray, what's going on, brother? Siki's in the house. We got Jigga J is up in here. What's going on, Jigga? Great to have you a part of the show. Silent Cypher. What's going on, Brian? Great to have you jumping into the chat. We got the beautiful Miss Caitlin in here. Thank you for doing the thumbnail. Sorry it was so late, Caitlin, today. I didn't even see Mav's DMs. That's how busy I was. So, but thank you for getting that done and getting the tweet out. Appreciate you so much. We got Gaimsharc in here. What's going on, Gaimsharc? We got Faded Blaze. What's going on, Faded Blaze? Who else? We got BigMADMoe is in here. What's going on, BigMADMoe? We got Spider-Man 356. Listen, Spider-Man, we don't do classic style intros here, bro. We're going to talk about games and what we've been doing. Great to see you, though, Spider-Man. Thanks for jumping in here. Brother from another Psychonauts, of course, is in here. Of course, we got AJH is in the house. Who else? Booty Hunting Click, who already dropped us that amazing super chat, donated to the FTC's fund. Let's go. We got the Hooded Canuck up in here. What is going on? Said lesbian 69, bear sex. What else more do you need? Well, I don't need the bear sex, but that's okay. It's in there for anybody who does.
He went and bought that early access edition the second after he saw that. Come on, guys. You know what Pong's all about.
Oh, you saw it. It went to #1 on Steam after their little showcase, right? Yeah. So, I'm really sorry for this name. I see you, but I don't know because it's in Russia. So we got somebody all the way from Russia in here, Mav, who says in Russia it's 2:00 night. So I'm assuming like 2:00 in the morning, maybe.
Yeah.
But great to see you. It's like Ponen and Seb. I don't know. I apologize, but thank you for being here and jumping in here. Crazy when you're in chat and you see people from all over the world. It never will not amaze me when I see this stuff. True Serum, what is going on? We got the brother from another Steel Raid who has been streaming some Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which they have updated dramatically from the last time he played it. Dramatically from the last time I played. He's playing some like roguelike mode where he's fighting dragons and stuff. Pretty damn cool, actually. Yeah. What's going on, Steel? Ardhi M is in the house. What's going on? We got LeBurn 98. Great to see you in here as well. Who else? We got Cyber in here. What's going on, Cyber? Great to see you as well. Nixie, you're killing me with this name. Every time I scroll and I see you. Nixie. What's going on, Nixie? Will Free Rosario's in here. What's going on? We got Donald J. Trump 69. Speaking of 69, what's going on, DJT? We got the one and only actually guy, Lore Master Jasper's up in here. What's going on, Lore Master? We got Crispy Bomb. Hope you're doing well, brother. Continued blessings and prayers for you and your family, man, for sure. Great to see you, though, Crispy. As always, we got Jim Ryan in the house. Jim, you feeling a little more confident, or do you just know this is a losing battle? And are you just already making the deals behind the scenes because you know you have to adapt or become an app?
Jim,
how about
says,
you, Jim?
You must appeal.
Masshole 1977. What is going on? RSJ Fran, always great to see you, my friend. Alvin was in here earlier. What's going on, Alvin? Great to have you a part of the show. We got Night Turtle in the house. What's going on, Night Turtle? We got Void Rat in here. We got Leonard Herrera. What is going on, everyone? We got Blackcarde. What's going on, Blackcarde? Who else? Outlaw was like the first one in our chat, at least when I pulled it up. So what's going on, Outlaw? Who else did I miss down here? Oh, we got, of course, 3-Bit in the house. Hello, beeps. What's going on, 3-Bit? Great to see you. That's what he said.
Oh, yeah. His little British voice. Okay. Yeah. I just haven't heard you do it before.
Beeps. Yeah,
It's great, man. Love it.
Talos Ray. What is going on? Sith Lord. What's going on? That's funny that you never heard me do it before. Yeah. Skywalker UAV1. What is going on? Don Sicario's in the house. We got Primitive Meat. Pause. Jesus.
Primitive
Doom Reapers in here. What's going on? We got Tarquin Burn in the house. Who else? We got Sin in the house. We got Isaac Gentry. Mr. MDJ's in here. What's going on? We got Stephanie Kingston. What is going on? Great to see you in here as well. We got Sappho in here. Great to see you, my friend, as always. Who else we get? I think I got General Spartan 27 dropping in here. Roshan Epigers dropping down in here. You guys, Def Leopard's in the house. Sergeant Dornan. What is going on, everybody? I think Mr. Kima's in here. Mitchie Dies a lot's in here. My God, we got a lot of sweet. Cullen Prime, what's going on? We got a lot of sweet people in here. Jay Rembert with the $2 as well. I hope MS closed this thing Saturday morning.
Sweet. You're also sweet.
$10 from Sanchez MTZ Gaming. This my Lina. Oh my God, I can't even speak. This is my Lina Kahn donation. Thank you very much. She appreciates that. We will give that one to her personally. We will hand it over to her. What is going on, Sensei Matrix? Corey Kreutzer, The Herd Theorem, Brian Scully.
I love seeing these new names actually saying hi.
This is fantastic. What is going on? Love it.
Lex Liger as well.
Yep. Lex Liger. Hey, what's going on, Lex?
Lex says you really name all 200 or the subscribers and donations. We're trying to get everybody that
we get everybody that jumps in the chat, man.
Yeah.
Eventually, someday we might get so big where I can't go through the entire list. But Mav and I do try to get the entire chat list, at least who's showing up, who's been chatting, and say hi to everybody. That's what we try to do.
It's hard to get everybody. I know. Unfortunately, there's like sometimes we'll miss people. But
Flint Dog, what's going on? No. But it is important to us because again, this is why we started. It's the community, man, and we're never going to forget that, right? No matter what. So
and you're
thank you
also
all for being
sweet.
Here.
Thank you. Hello, papes. Thank you for
Hello,
being there.
papes.
We do have a couple more super chats to get to, Pong Soul.
Go grab them because I read off 2 of them. So what else you got in here? Did I miss a couple more?
Did you get the Jay Rembert?
I did get the Jay Rembert. Yes,
you
sir.
read it during your
Yes, I
names?
did.
How did
I
miss
did.
it? You got Sanchez?
I don't know. I said yes, and I got Sanchez. MTZ
Did you?
Gaming.
Did he get
yes,
the super
I did.
chats? Am I going crazy?
I said I can't speak when I tried to say Lina, and I screwed it up. This is my Lina Kahn donation. I said we will give it to her personally in your name.
Man, I guess you got him.
Jay, yeah, I got him. I got it taken care of. I got it handled, brother. We're good, man. We're good.
Well, appreciate it, guys.
Yeah, no. Awesome start to the show here. Nearly over 200 people watching. If you haven't already, business, please. It helps the algorithm. It helps Fun Speculation. God, I cannot speak tonight. Fun Speculation Network continue to grow. So please hit the like button if you're enjoying what you're hearing so far. And we're going to get into topics right now. But also, if you got a moment, share it out. Bring some more new faces in here because I've seen a lot of new faces tonight, which, like Mav said, is freaking awesome. Love to see it all. All right. Let's see what we're going to hop into, Mav. Let's hop into Lina because we are holding up basically a fundraiser tonight for her cause. So let's hop into what happened today.
Let's hop into Lina. Okay.
This
is Baldur's Gate 3.
I didn't say that. You said that.
I didn't say that.
I didn't say let's hop into Lina Kahn.
Yes, you did. You just
no, I didn't. I said let's hop into what happened to Lina Kahn today.
Didn't he just say let's hop into Lina? Look
okay,
at
if I said what happened, let's hop into Lina. Okay, all right, Caitlin, I'll believe you. That's fine. I'll believe you over your.
Oh my
husband.
God.
All right, fine. Well, pause. Okay, pause. Let's not hop into Lina Kahn. Let's hop into what happened to Lina Kahn today in front of Congress, Mav, because it got really, really spicy over there. Things got ugly. Now,
yeah.
I mean, obviously, I think most people who've been paying attention probably saw a bunch of the clips. But as I started off the show, let's start here, Mav. Lina today, she was asking for like 38% more funding. She's already basically getting $500 million, right? She was asking for this. And live during her questioning, it was told to her that there are consequences for your actions, Miss Kahn. And you're going to find out because we're actually going to reduce your funding by 25%. And the look on her face, Mav, as she had to sit there and listen to this after getting grilled all day long.
Yeah.
After being told basically what a terrible person she is and how she's unfit for this position. She also had to hear that she personally, at this point, because of her ideology, because of what she's decided to do, taking on losing case after losing case without a care in the world, wasting taxpayer dollars, which
is basically just burning it,
right? They're like the Joker style. It's not about the money. It's about making a statement. Like that's what Lina's been doing this entire time. And don't get me wrong, the government's burning our money at all times,
Yeah.
right? Even fake money that we don't have, they're burning. But Lina was on the stand today and she got grilled and she got told that they were going to lose 25% more funding. Mav, what was your reaction when you saw that portion of this today?
Yeah, my mind flashed back to her asking for more money, and this is not what they wanted. So that was the most like thing that I think mattered. Like she can sit there and not really care about what because she's gonna get the praise from the Democrats and she's gonna get the lambasting from the Republicans, right? And we kind of already saw that coming. However, like what the Republicans were saying to her was mostly on point. You know what I mean? As far as like wasting money and like the huge turnover that the FTC's had since she's been in control, the keep bringing cases up to lose when they don't really have any merit, all those kind of things that we saw, since her reign as FTC chair, And we know that she's burned through so much money that they've actually had ran out and they went to ask for more recently, right? And then they were kind of like, what? You've been doing such a horrible job. That was the last time we saw her kind of get grilled from some. But, and she can sit there and I feel like assume that she's going to get lambasted from half the people up there, right? But what actually matters, I think, for her in this scenario is the budget cut, because for her that's going to feel like, well, that's making it harder for me to do what I want to do, which is good for my thinking, because there's a lot of wasting going on. So if you're wasting, don't waste more, waste less. Right? So we're going to cut back your budget, apply it to other things, hopefully, in the government that'll hopefully have better results. I doubt, it's all government and they waste, like you said, money on everything anyway.
Yep.
So many different things they could do that'd be better for people than a lot of the things that they do. But at least in this case, somebody that is frivolously spending on bad cases is going to have less money. And like, yeah, you can see the look on her face at that moment. It's like, well, shit. Yeah, you got me there. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think that one burned a little bit.
Well, it definitely hurts what she's trying to do, man, because she can't. And again, this is why I say it's great. At the end of the day, of course, I say it's great because, again, government overreach, government overspending, all of that shit needs to go away. But anyways, why I think it's great is because now she can't just frivolously try cases anymore.
Yeah, there's consequences.
There's consequences. She now is going to have to make smarter decisions about what cases she does bring.
Yeah,
she's actually going to have to start trying to bring winning cases to court versus statement cases, just because she hates big corporations. And again, everybody on some level gets it, but the way that she's going about it is not okay. And it's against the law, what she's trying to do. It's an abuse of power. When I say it's against the law, I'm not saying that she is doing anything criminal, but what she's doing is she's actually going against the laws that are in place. She's trying to change the laws into something that they currently aren't, which is not how our system works. And she had to be reminded of that today, time and time again, Mav, as well, because during this, a couple of senators brought up the fact that her statements in the past where she said, we will bring losing cases anyways, even if we know they're losing cases, because that hopefully will begin the discussion in Washington to give us the power that we need to battle these big corporations, right? Purposely. And I don't know if you heard that section, Mav, but they questioned her time and time again in regards to that statement, and she kept avoiding answering exactly what she meant.
Talking around circles. Yeah, I heard her deny it almost at one point. Like when she was like, "That's not true. We don't bring cases up to lose," or something like that. But like, it's obvious what they've said. I mean, she said it in interviews multiple times, right? That they're trying to bring these cases up to get the law changed.
Yep.
Right. And if you've had past FTC chairs come out and say it's a bad idea, but she's just causing more problems and actually going to make it things harder because she's going to have power taken away, right? And we're already seeing this now. The results of what was warned from the past FTC chairs about the repercussions of her and what she's doing with the FTC.
Yep.
So you know, she can say it now, or try and deny it now all she wants because she realized that's the wrong move at this point. I mean, she's still doing it, but publicly stating it as obvious as she was before, I think is coming back to bite her in the ass also. So you can try and deny it, but the tapes and the video and everything from what you said in the past is already out there, and your actions are falling in line with what you said, especially when you have such a bad case. Like Microsoft was never going to be an easy case for them. Like it never going to be something that they could win, I feel like, because their case rested so much on Call of Duty. And we said this early on when the FTC made it so much about Call of Duty. That was like such an easy win for Microsoft there.
Correct.
And the when everybody was freaking out at the time when they went to phase 2 and stuff like that, we said like, this is a good thing, because if that's what their case is resting on and this is what they're focusing on, that's checkmate for Microsoft. And if you go back and listen to our shows when we talked about that, and she's going through trying to, the lawyers just sounded like morons talking about damaging Sony, damaging Sony, damaging Sony. And the whole case they made sounded like they worked for PlayStation. They didn't work for the consumers. They weren't trying to protect the consumers in this space. They tried to make a case by damaging Sony. You damage the consumers because you're going to make Sony do bad things. Like what? Like the stuff that they're already doing? You mean to say that Microsoft's going to put so much pressure on them that Sony's going to Sony? What a horrible argument.
Right.
And Microsoft, all they had to do is show proof that they've already been doing these things and that they needed to be able to compete a little bit more in this space. So it's like the judge, I haven't pointed out pro-competitive effects from this deal. There's no way that this was ever going to win in court from the FTC unless the judge was just that confused about it, which I brought up before, that maybe that was their idea to try and cause confusion, right? Hope that there was enough ignorance from the judge's part to actually not know what to do. Well, it turned out this judge actually did their homework. And I think also the gamers lawsuit case might have come back to bite them in the ass a little bit, because that gave her even more time to study this case. Because it's the same lawyer, same judge, right? So like,
they already had a lot of the information.
And that was a kind of a Sony-backed lawsuit as well, right? So Sony ended up actually, I think, causing more problems here for the FTC and the arguments that could have potentially been had if they had focused in better directions. But regardless, like, there was never a good case to begin with. But you know, holes all over the place. FTC loses big time, falls on their face, embarrasses himself in court to the dismay of taxpayers who have to watch and hear this and realize that, wow, like, I'm worried because this is what our money is being spent on, this kind of argument. Like, there's no argument there. It was just a shit show. It was so one-sided. It was ridiculous. So now, you know, it's right for her to get lambasted by Congress and have these questions asked and the money cut down. If you're going to waste it on frivolous shit about video games and try and say that, you know, Microsoft is trying to hurt Sony and that's bad for consumers and all that kind of stuff, it's just dumb. It's just dumb. The whole argument of trying to take on big tech regardless, it doesn't matter what it is, you know, we're just going to go against it because that's what our agenda is, and that's not going to work. That shouldn't work in this country, and I don't think it's going to work going forward. It's not the law.
She publicly stated that she believes that trillion-dollar companies should be broken up. I mean, she's publicly stated that she doesn't think that the trillion-dollar company should exist as a market cap. Well, guess who's a $2 trillion company? Microsoft, right? It all makes sense here. I got some quotes too, Mav, real quick here from the AP article today. Republicans focused on the agency's poor legal record on those antitrust cases. Quote, Are you losing on purpose? Asked Representative Kevin Kiley, a California Republican, citing a past comment from Kahn that suggested courtroom losses would signal to Congress that it needed to update its antitrust laws. Quote, absolutely not, Kahn replied, while acknowledging that, quote, unfortunately, things don't always go our way, end quote.
Or never.
Yeah, or never. Republicans question the wisdom behind aggressive regulation and whether it could hurt small businesses as well. California Rep. Daryl Issa criticized the FTC's left turn since she took over 2 years ago. Quote, shame on you, end quote, Issa said. Quote, the reality is we're a global market and you are thinking only of who you want to go after for some reason, and I cannot find your logic, end quote. There was also a moment where Issa said, I cannot believe that you are throwing your own personnel underneath the bus.
Because she said the appeal was the FTC staff decision.
The staff, that was a staff decision. That was a staff decision. She kept saying it. That was a staff decision. They read it and they decided that there was court errors that we could appeal on. Now, the interesting thing here, Mav, and I've seen a lot of people bring this up today, and it's one of the things that I thought of when I was listening to her talk today, was the fact that this could have been that the appeal itself could be a political move, that she knows they're still going to lose the appeal.
Yeah.
More than likely, but they honestly did the appeal so that today, while she had to answer these questions, she could avoid answering direct questions about Activision Blizzard, Microsoft Activision acquisition, because she used it time and time again today, because there was some of the senators actually pointed this case out because they pointed to the fact that they had lost earlier in the week. And now you're wasting more taxpayer dollars by appealing this on top of this when the court roundly disagreed with your entire case and said that you had no case. Why are you appealing it? And she said, well, of course, she went with it's an ongoing case, so I'm not going to be able to talk about specifics or decisions behind it.
Yeah.
I think that it could have been a political move to protect her today from these lines of questioning and direct questions about this specific.
Yeah, say there hasn't been a final decision made or whatever instead of another L, right?
Yep.
It was another L, I think. And it was interesting, that whole thing about staff decisions, right?
Correct.
You've had mass exodus from a lot of the staff there because of the direction that the FTC's gone, right? And at the direction everybody that in the polls and questionings about workplace culture stated since Lina Kahn has taken over as chair of the FTC. So staff decisions, I agree. That's kind of throwing your staff under the bus a little bit.
Big time.
Jax82 with a $5 super chat says the best part when someone asks Lina Kahn, you are 0-4 as far as winning cases. Why are you losing so much?
Yeah.
That was asked.
Yep.
Which was funny.
Again, it was funny. And then Issa later brought up, because she had stated that she thinks that she believes that the FTC does a good job at looking at the different industries and predicting the future. And again, I'm not directly quoting.
Yeah.
But then Issa came back and said, if you're so good at predicting the future, why are you 0-4?
Right.
If you're so good at predicting the future of these industries, not even the stock market can do that. So why do you feel you're so good at this? And he was laying into her. And that was right before he told her that they're actually going to give her a 25% cut in her funding for the FTC because of the consequences to these actions that she has been taking, seemingly without any care in the world, whether or not it's a winnable case, whether or not it actually does have valid reasons according to the laws. She, again, is, and a lot of people believe this, trying to make her own laws as she goes. So not a good day for Lina. You can see the look on her face. As much as the Democrats tried to protect her, and again, don't care. I'm done with the political stuff, whatever. But this is a major reason for this. As much as the Democrats tried to protect her all day long, not a single Democrat stood up and agreed or said anything positive about the Microsoft and Activision acquisition deal at all. I know Senator Warren
She tweeted
later on, tweeted about it and said, "Great job, Lina, protecting the consumers."
From
which
what?
means that,
Be more specific.
well, which means Warren didn't watch 1 second of that entire case.
Fight, yeah, wasting people's money. Great job.
But as much as they tried to protect her, overall, she got handled today. She did. She got pushed around pretty good, and again, she's now cost the FTC funding in the long run, which is not a good sign. As Mav and I were talking in the background, the weird thing is, and Mav and I talked about this. This always draws on political lines when we come to this, because the FTC is headed by a nominee, right, from the current presidency. Right. So this usually does draw. But the point being is here, I can't think of a time over the past from what I can remember. Again, I don't pay a whole lot of attention to this stuff, but over the past 2 decades, there hasn't been a whole lot of FTC talk along political lines, no matter who's been president, no matter who's been the one nominated.
This under fire, right?
This under fire. She is outside the lines. She is way out of bounds on this. And that's why there's so much there's such a big spotlight on the FTC and her right now, because this is how wild and radical she is driving the FTC right now, that it has gotten to this point where now she is having to come before Congress and get grilled multiple times about what she's actually doing here and what that means. It also came out, funny side note too, Mav. I thought this was funny. I know a lot of people obviously were tweeting about this. She's not even up to date in the District of Columbia with her license to practice law.
Yeah. I saw something about that. So like, I don't really,
one of the, I forget one of the reps, female reps, she brought it up today and said, do you think you should be going by the title council? Do you think you should, when you don't even have your up-to-date paperwork done, you're not even licensed to practice law, that you can actually be brought on charges for any type of practicing any type of law? And here you are talking about the laws of the country when it comes to mergers and acquisitions. Like, bro, like, what are you doing, Lina? What are you doing? Like, why would you not have this stuff done and over with? Why would you leave yourself any type of opening like this, a weak spot? But she did. And it's valid. It's a valid question as to why she never completed that.
Yeah. It's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We'll
find out a lot. I think this is not over with the FTC and potential ramifications against the FTC with Congress and stuff. So we'll have to find out. But that's the one thing that's, I feel like the checks and balances system is somewhat working here, in the US with the court system, right? It's something that the UK doesn't really have with the CMA.
Right.
And it's interesting what's going there, because, what you see, like, potentially the CMA was bending the knee the other day after the FTC lost, and now they're coming out trying to still posture publicly, making another public statement. Why is it a public statement you have to make? Why not just a direct one to Microsoft, right? Saying that Microsoft, if there's a new remedy or whatever, it would have to go under a whole new full investigation, which was weird last minute posturing from the CMA right there. Right?
Listen, we could talk about that right now, because again, we've talked about whether or not previously through this whole process, whether or not there was collusion with the CMA and the FTC, which there's not technically supposed to be. And you saw this brought up during the questioning of the CMA over in the UK, right?
It was almost like that Parliament correlated with when they found out the FTC was going to appeal.
Correct. It has been nothing but stall tactic after stall tactic after stall tactic, Mav. And it's two-sided, because it is the CMA and it is the FTC. Now, the CMA came out and admitted that they had, like, I think it was 27 different conversations with FTC, with EU, with other regulatory bodies about the Activision Blizzard deal. But this seems way too coordinated, Mav. Way too coordinated. And again, I don't think I believe that Microsoft, obviously, again, $1 million attorneys, this is a $2 trillion corporation. These people aren't stupid. Okay, folks, as much sometimes we can say that they can act stupid, they're not stupid at the end of the day. There's no way Microsoft agreed to enter into the stay over with the CMA to negotiate again without knowing the CMA could pull this, and without having an out that they could just close over the top of the CMA, start paying fines, and deal with it. There's no way they entered in this state. Some people were suggesting, oh, Microsoft got caught with their pants down. Oh, look at the CMA. They're coming out here and saying, well, now we're going to have to retry the entire thing. We're going to have to reinvestigate the entire thing if you guys make any changes, any concessions.
Remedy, a whole new investigation, the entire thing.
Bro.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Bro. Like, how much more chicken do you want to play? Again, this is the CMA's best poker face that they're putting on right now. They are trying to delay Microsoft so that the FTC has a chance. This is coming to a close. They're about to get run over by a freight train, and that freight train is named Microsoft. Yeah. Okay. They've already seen the power behind Microsoft getting to this point. There is no way Microsoft is going to let one country, assuming that the appeal doesn't work and they just close over the top of the FTC. They're not going to let one country called the UK stand in their way of this $70 billion deal. We've said this from the beginning now. There is no way. They're that close to a touchdown. They are not going to punt the ball on 4th down and 1 from the goal line. Okay, that's not what they're going to do.
Yeah.
So
100%.
The CMA can play all the games they want to, but it's not going to stop this.
Yeah.
And the FTC is still going to lose the appeal. Again, we don't deal in absolutes, but 99% sure that they are going to lose the appeal and Microsoft will close over the top of them. So the CMA will eventually have to bend the knee. Either you're going to take whatever concession Microsoft is offering without further investigation, or Microsoft's just going to close over the top of you as well and deal with the ramifications in the UK.
And then I think if that happens, the CMA is going to come under more scrutiny from their government, being that they're the only ones in the entire world that have tried to block this deal and maintain that posturing when the case in the U.S. has failed. It's not good for the CMA in the look of, remember, being closed for business. Right. The rest of the world thinks it's okay, but your one regulatory body still sticks through it, and there's no checks and balances that really make them be able to have a any recourse. Really, I mean, there's a cat thing, but it was getting interesting. That's going to keep playing out if this closes over the top of the CMA, I believe, but we'll see what happens. I think there's a strong chance this deal closes by Monday.
Yeah.
Because Monday would be the 17th. Yep. The 18th is the deadline. And there's already been moves now within Microsoft. Their Activision Blizzard is going to be is already being delisted, I think, and stock exchange.
Yep. Correct.
In anticipation and preparation. I don't think they'd be doing that if there's a lot of questions up in the air, but they have to, they have to do what they got to do. But the ball's already in motion. This thing's going to close, and short of a long shot miracle, from the FTC, this thing's a done deal now, and
absolutely
looking forward to ABK being part of the Microsoft Xbox family, Pong.
Yep. It's gonna be a big moment again for the industry as a whole and what it means going forward. But it's gonna be a huge moment for Microsoft and Xbox and us gamers. Just means Game Pass becomes more valuable for those of us invested in the ecosystem, right? But it means great things also for the people, hopefully, that work at Activision Blizzard and King, that management will continue to be cleaned out, and that Microsoft will ultimately, again, it's not going to happen overnight, but ultimately change a lot of the internal philosophy, even if they are, and culture, right? Even if they are going to be a subsidiary and they're going to run themselves, they are still going to have to be integrated as far as a culture goes into Microsoft's. And so that means massive changes, better, hopefully, workplace experiences for everybody over there, which again, we found out this week, Mav, down Activision Blizzard King is what, 15,000 strong, 17,000
yeah,
strong?
17,000 now.
Bro,
it's crazy.
They're approaching Ubisoft. Like Ubisoft is in the 20s, right? As far as the latest numbers that we had.
Yeah,
That is insane.
and supposedly when this acquisition was announced, they were at
Yes.
10.
Yes.
So they've hired 7,000 employees since the acquisition was announced.
I don't know. That's why I was
That's-
blown away by the
that's what
numbers.
that- That's what
unless
that
that
tweet said. I don't know.
yeah, unless
Sure.
the 10,000 was an old number,
Right.
right? Unless the 10,000 was an old number. Now, of course, right, there are going to be layoffs
Yeah.
when you take on that many people, because there is going to be some crossover between the companies that aren't needed. Right. And so all you can hope for is that they can keep as many people as possible. When it happened with ZeniMax, there was very few layoffs. Now, 17,000 is a whole nother number. We saw Microsoft make some more layoffs this week, which is never a good thing. Not on the Xbox side, from different business departments. But there is going to be some redundancy when they take on 17,000 people. You just hope it's kept to a minimum. But overall, what I'm stating is that hopefully the culture can be changed enough over the next 2, 3, 5 years as they're assimilated as a part of Microsoft, that they will go ahead and have a much better work-life experience when it comes to being devs or testers or whatever the case may be, whatever part of ABK you are. Right. That's the other human side of this aspect that continues to get lost in all of it, that we assume that if Bobby Kotick is given his golden parachute, and I've heard some crazy clowns out here talking about how Bobby Kotick should stay in charge. Actually, Steele told me that there are some people saying that Bobby Kotick should actually run everything, not Sarah Bond. Oh, okay. This is where we're at. Anyways, we hope that Bobby Kotick is given his parachute and kicked out the door to an island somewhere, never to return to the industry. Again, business-wise, he's done some incredible things. Activision wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Bobby Kotick. You can go back and read the history of where Activision was when he took over. But from a personnel standpoint, from just a human standpoint, the dude is a slime ball. He's a snake. He's one of the most worthless people that we've had in this industry in a long time, for how he push things under the rug over at Activision Blizzard for so long, that made people, unfortunately, very bad spots over there, right? And have horrible things happen to them. So Bobby Kotick needs to be out of his industry. But you hope after that point, as Microsoft continues to clean house and kind of shape what it looks like to be Activision Blizzard King, that's a better work experience for all those people over there. So that human element, I'm really hoping for. Calorie, thanks for bringing it up. I was going to talk about this earlier when we were first talking about the CMA too. Man, what did you think about this? The early reports, and again, the reports were kind of pulled back a little bit because early reports where the CMA had already accepted a concession from Microsoft in regards to this deal. Now that was pulled back, and no, that was just initially offered. But it sounds like that Microsoft and Activision are willing to give up the cloud over in the UK in order to get this deal done, right? Yeah. So their aspirations for cloud in the UK, which again, we've heard numbers of like 5,000 people in the UK actually use Xbox's cloud, some ridiculously low number. But the fact that they're willing to give up the cloud, which again, supposedly the CMA, EU, FTC have all made such a big deal out of, like, oh, this nascent market is going to take over. Microsoft's going to control everything with Activision Blizzard, with Call of Duty. Nobody's going to be able to stop them in the cloud. They're just willing to go, okay, we won't do cloud business over in the UK. Like, well, okay, we don't care. Does that show you like how little the cloud actually means at this time? Do you think that this deal is just too big, so they're willing to give up one country because who cares? What do you think about that cloud thing?
It's I kind of brought this up. I had a game stream and also another stream when the news went down, and we were kind of talking about things and stuff. And I kind of brought this up because the CMA bent the knee a little bit and about the divestiture and about what it may look like. And I was kind of running through my head about possibilities and what I would do if I was Microsoft, right? So if I was Microsoft, what I would do is I would just kill xCloud, the cloud streaming in the UK. Use one of these other companies like a Boosteroid or Ubitus or whatever, right? That you have these partnership deals with now. You make an agreement with one of them and you put their service on your platform, all of a sudden you can still offer UK consumers cloud gaming through a third party service that you have on Xbox and you have on you can include their service as a bundle part of Game Pass, right? So even if it's a third party company, they're still using Azure servers, presumably. So Microsoft's still winning in that regard. And they're also having a third party company that has control of the cloud that they're then making a deal with to provide those services to the Xbox ecosystem. They kind of have already done that with the gaming subscription side for EA Play, right? To add that bundle to Game Pass. So it would just be like working with a third party partner, and it wouldn't be that crazy. The end result for the consumer in the UK would be the same, as long as the quality of the service is the same, which I would assume it could be because it's running on Azure. So really, it's just it's an easy out for them. And as long as the cloud's still growing in the UK and people are using Azure servers to run it on, I think that's all Microsoft really cares about, right? So yeah, they would like to have those people still part of their service, but for one country to have them use one of these other third-party companies would not be a big deal. Anyway, like that's what I would do if I was Microsoft. You just pass it off and make a deal. Okay, put Boosteroid in the UK on Xbox,
right?
And on PC is offered part of Game Pass.
Yep,
that's what I would do if I was Microsoft. It seems like an easy solution.
Good idea. It's a good idea. Again, Microsoft wouldn't willingly divest themselves of the cloud over in the UK if they didn't have other options, right?
Yeah.
Mav? Again, this is not a dumb company. They didn't get to be a $2 trillion cap company by making stupid moves all the time. Sure, they've made their mistakes, but they wouldn't be willingly giving this up if it was a big deal to this, right? Again, they're not going to let the UK stand in its way. The UK can play all the games they want, but Microsoft is willing to do this. They're willing to divest of the cloud, which is the CMA's complete argument. Why would there have to be another investigation, CMA?
Yeah,
if you're only what you guys, all the stuff you try to lay out got shot down one by one, and your main point is we believe the cloud market could be monopolized by Microsoft in the future because of the ABK deal. If you are only the UK regulatory body, if you are not doing anything unscrupulous, like we suggested you may be with the FTC, and your job is to make sure that business in the UK is fair, then why the hell would you have to reinvestigate this entire thing if Microsoft willingly divests itself of the one issue that you have?
Yeah.
Explain, like I'm a 5-year-old, CMA, how that makes any sense. You already investigated everything else and concluded that your one concern was the cloud. And Microsoft is saying, fine, we won't do cloud business in the UK. Done deal. That's it. How could the CMA even suggest that they would have to delay this further by doing a full reinvestigation? Again, like you said, Mav, if that continues to happen, if that continues to be their ploy, they will come under a ton of scrutiny about what their actual purpose is and why they've been given so much power over there. In fact, their power was just increased. That power can be taken away, folks. Again, there is a reason why they have themselves separated from the government over there. But right now they're playing politics in other countries. And that's not supposed to be the CMA's job. The CMA is supposed to be looking out for the UK business sectors and consumers. So I think that doesn't work, Mav. It doesn't work. It doesn't make any sense to me at all. There was another thing, I guess, with the appeal here, Mav. This late appeal by the FTC, which it had to be late because of how late the decision was. There's even question about whether or not this will have time. We will find that out tomorrow, obviously, if there's time even. They may run out. The clock may just run out on them. Yeah. But the FTC appealed this, and there's been wild speculation. There's a bunch of people out here who are all against Microsoft, not in the community, not just in the community, but outside of that. Man, let's speak about that for a second too, Mav. Holy shit, was it quiet for about a day and a half, wasn't it?
Strange.
was like a ghost
People
town.
deleting their Twitter accounts. That's so funny. Oh my God, Microsoft is going to be able to buy Activision Blizzard. I no longer have a right to exist. Let me delete my last several years of existence where I put everything into my heart and soul. Every day I'm tweeting like every fucking 5 minutes at least. And oh my God, this happened and it's so bad. I delete my existence on social media because like my like persona is now all a big joke because FTC lost. I've been saying they're gonna win. What are you talking about? I can't come out there and face anybody. I mean, wow. People deleting their social media accounts over this. It's just crazy.
They're back already too, by the way.
I'm sure they can't stay away.
I just don't understand how these bad faith actors have anybody that listens to them. I guess it's true that people like when people lie to them, right?
Yeah.
This group of people who deserted Twitter for like a day, I literally, there was only a couple, and again, I've got everybody muted, right? So I don't see this stuff unless somebody else retweets it or unless I purposely go look for it. But I had to see, because I started hearing people talk, where is everybody? So I had to go actually look. And there was maybe one or two still commenting out here about stuff. But the fact is, these people sat with the case, and they, as much as they were making fun of Xbox people listening to the case, they themselves were listening to this case. And they were telling their chat and the people that listened to them that the FTC was crushing Microsoft. They actually were listening to this entire trial and listening to Judge Corley and listening to the attorneys and the witnesses and actually trying to say that the FTC was crushing Microsoft day after day, Mav. But like you said, the minute that, of course, what we all believed was going to happen happened, and Judge Corley came out with a resounding dismissal of the FTC's case, point after point, even when she gave them something like, hey, it's not the court's job in this case to decide the market. So I'll just give you your market definitions. I'll give you all the market definitions you want. Even if I give you all the market definitions you want, you still didn't present any type of case I think is winnable. Once she came out with this decision, the fact that you walked away from Twitter because you knew that you were going to have to face up to the nonsense, the garbage, the lies, the absolute act that you put on a weekly basis. Again, this is nothing new. This is why I say most of these people are just actors out here on ego trips. That's all they're doing. I just can't believe people take these guys seriously anymore. I can't believe they subscribe to their channels. I can't believe they go to them for any information. But the fact that you couldn't even come face the music on the day when this happened, it shows who you are. Right? Did you see Mav and I and the rest of the marchers disappear when March didn't happen? Like, that was a fun thing for us. Obviously, it was. We were having fun with it. We threw out some speculation town and we were having a go with it. But did you see us disappear or run away? I certainly had people posting at me. How about them marchers, huh, Pong?
Yeah.
I didn't run away. I didn't delete my Twitter account. No, if you're going to be out here and you're going to stand on a hill and you're going to stand tall, right? You don't fold and run away when things don't go your way. But again, that's how fragile these dudes are. Their egos can't handle the beating that they knew they would take the next day. So they had to wait until the appeal showed up. And then all of a sudden they all came back.
Yeah, I told you guys it's still it's crazy.
FTC's not laying down now. Oh, they're gonna win this one. Judge Corley. Oh, look at all these things that were wrong with one thing.
She said May instead of she said Will instead of May.
Correct. That's what I was just gonna bring up. This whole Will versus May, according to the laws, right? And she used the terminology in her final decision. Will probably, right, cause substantial harm to competition. Versus may cause substantial harm to competition. The funny part is, and this is directly from Hogue, thank God again for, hey, hats off to Hogue. Coming off injured reserve for this one too.
Anything may happen.
Yeah.
Always.
Yes. Correct. But Hogue came out with a great video of a breakdown of Corley's entire decision. So if you guys haven't watched it yet, you want somebody who knows his stuff, putting it into layman terms, go watch Hogue's video. But again, shout out to Hogue for coming off injured reserve for this one. But he also put out a tweet concerning this because there are some people, again, not even inside the community, but some economics experts coming out here stating that, oh, Judge Corley made a big error here. But Richard Hogue had this to say about that. He said, this is just silly. The antitrust acts have long been understood to be read less broadly than written, or they would be nonsensical. And he quotes an actual case in which the FTC themselves talked about this. And it's, quote, of course, the word may should not be taken literally, for if it were, every acquisition would be unlawful, end quote. Yeah. And that was FTC versus Elders Grain 868, Federal 2nd District 901, I think it is. I don't know how to read all the legal stuff, but the fact is the FTC themselves said that, of course, that may term should not be used in that way. And one of the gentlemen out here trying to fight against this is Matt Stoller, dude, who's got 142,000 followers on Twitter.
That's the other thing. There's a lot of these people coming out of the woodworks now. Andy McNamara as well.
Oh, Jesus. Unbelievable. He works Matt Stoller is part of the American Economic Liberties Project. Okay. So again, another grifter. Yeah. Okay. Again, I've seen this guy before in a former Twitter life. I know who this guy is. All right. He's a grifter. Anyways, he's been out here fighting this, and he actually came back at Hogue and said, come on, here's the full quote. Quote, of course, the word may should not be taken literally, for if it were, every acquisition would be unlawful, but the statute requires a prediction and doubts are to be resolved against the transaction. And Hogue goes, that's fine. You still don't read it as any remote possibility. And Stoller came back at him and said, you also don't read it as will probably substantially lessen competition, which is what Corley used as a standard. Congress put may substantially lessen competition in the statute. And Hogue refused. Did Hogue come back at him one more time? No, Hogue did not come back at him. Again, this is not enough. As Hogue pointed out, even if the appellate court, the 9th District, says Corley made an error, and Hogue pointed out a couple errors that he found going through her decision that he would say, maybe she shouldn't have gone this route here. He pointed out a couple errors. He said it's still not enough to grant the appeal, to grant the injunction. He's like, that's still not enough. That the bar is so high for the FTC, and they failed in so many different ways, that there is no way the appeals court in 9th District is going to suddenly, for the first time, I think in history, overrule a judge's decision on a vertical merger. Yeah. Now, horizontal mergers, that's happened, but vertical mergers, it's never happened before because the bar is so high. And again, for the people who forget, because I saw people going back to Corley's son being a part of Microsoft. Are you kidding me? The FTC knew this. They handpicked Corley. Microsoft didn't actually want her as the judge. They wanted this in DC's courts. The FTC wanted it with Corley. And she disclosed her son's position with Microsoft. Again, Microsoft employs how many people, Mav? Like, I can't even remember the numbers. It's almost 100,000, 90,000, something like 70,000, something like that. So she already disclosed it. The FTC had every right to ask her to recuse herself if they didn't approve of her. They approved of her. So the judge they wanted said, your case sucks. Sorry, but you don't have a case that's winnable here. Just like 95% of the experts out there from all different industries who did opine on this case looked at it and said, don't know what the FTC is doing here. There's no reason to stop this under current law. There's no reason. That's why Mav, everybody else on these channels, we're all talking about this so confidently because we were reading and listening to these people, and all these people are pointing out the facts are, as the laws are written currently, what Microsoft is doing by acquiring Activision shouldn't be prevented. There's nothing wrong with it.
We have a couple breaking news things here, Pong.
Go. Shoot.
So in one of the attempts from the FTC, and thanks to the chat for pointing this out, thanks to my wife for texting me, thanks for everybody on Twitter also posting about this because it's breaking everywhere. right now, and we'll get into the second breaking news in a second. But the first one I think is more pressing. And one of the moves that the FTC was trying to do was get Judge Corley to stay the TRO temporarily
Yes.
until the Court of Appeals has a chance to.
They have to do this by law. They have to do this by law.
Has a chance to look at it. She has officially denied the request. So the FTC asked this court to enjoin the merger at issue pending resolution of the FTC's appeal to the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. The motion is denied. It is so ordered. So we should have a decision from the Court of Appeals probably tomorrow on that. But if not, then it's too late. Right? Because unless they do something over the weekend and Microsoft doesn't close in time. But I feel like I think it was said like around 3 a.m. Eastern time, Saturday night, Friday night going into Saturday.
Yep.
That they can officially close at that point anytime they want. And I don't know how it works, but I think once it's closed, then this whole preliminary injunction nonsense and everything is over with because it's a done deal. Like
it's a done deal. The
done.
FTC can still carry forward their case.
Yeah, they can still
have their tryout. Yep, they can still do it because that's been talked about, right, Matt? Because the FTC was trying to say, well,
yeah, but you can't get a preliminary injunction at that point to stop it from closing.
That's done. No. They will close. They will close. They will start conducting business as an acquired entity, right? They will be a subsidiary of Microsoft as soon as it's officially announced. People were trying to say, hey, you can't do this over the weekend. People already went into the law books and found out, nope, there's nothing preventing it. Just most of the time, attorneys don't work over the weekends to do that kind of stuff. But in this scenario, $1 million attorneys, Microsoft, they're going to be working on it. Even if it takes them all weekend to get the documentation ready, to get everything ready, they have to submit it Monday because it has to be ready to rock and roll Tuesday to meet the deadline of the contract between Microsoft and Activision Blizzard King. Otherwise, it gets real dicey. So that's why everybody's just saying this is going to be done. They're already prepping, guaranteed. They're already prepping and have the paperwork lined up. We're starting ready to rock and roll, finalize things over the weekend to be ready to announce this Monday as a closed deal and then let the chips fall where they may. You know, and I think this is exact. Go ahead.
You know, it's fun. You know, things are getting hot when King David actually starts speaking in the chats because he usually lurks, man. But he's here hanging out.
Shout out to King.
Awesome to see you there, King. He said it's done.
Yes.
Done deal. Hold the line, King.
They are a part of Microsoft. That is correct, King. Shout out to you, brother.
They pulled ABK off of the NASDAQ. Yeah, so people can't buy shares. Yeah, it's done. It's happening. Everything is in motion. Right? Like the wheels are turning. This thing's happening, you know, and people can cry and scream and all they want. And the major journalists, the journalists from the media that have stayed silent for the most part, now starting to be like, why does everybody seem to care about this deal? Or why do people want Microsoft to win? And they keep asking. And I've seen this from a couple different people now that have stayed silent. Like, they're so shocked that people would actually see the value of Microsoft owning Activision Blizzard. Well, guess what? It's a good deal for a lot of people. And I want the deal to go through, not because I care about Microsoft, because I care about the industry. And I also want to see the value brought back to me as a consumer, right? So we get benefits from that. It can be cross-buy with ABK games. It can be cross-progression from ABK games. It can be those games in Game Pass, easier to access on more devices. And the most important thing for me, Pong, is it forces PlayStation to potentially have to start doing better offerings themselves in their own services. And that's what competition breeds. That's pro-competition. That's why you don't go out there and you don't protect Sony. You don't go and protect Sony. You don't go and protect PlayStation. You don't make your case about that. Who gives a shit about the corp, right? If you all these people saying like we're shilling for $1 trillion corp, we're getting paid, we're a firm, we're bots, none of this is real, all that shit. You want to say we're all trying to celebrate and cheer for $1 trillion corporation? I'm cheering for my wallet, baby. Think about that. How crazy would that be to think that I care more about what it does for me as a consumer than what it does for Sony? Fuck Sony. I don't give a shit about Sony.
Mhm.
If their business hits a little bit because of this, that may force them to be more competitive, and that's a win, right? I can't wait for this to happen. It's done.
Adapt or become an app, Sony. Right? I said that on Iron Lords the other day because that's exactly what they have to do. They're not going anywhere. Sony's going to be fine. Like Judge Corley said, it may be bad for Sony, but this is going to be good for consumers. Judge Corley had it right all along. She understood the mission from the beginning. Unfortunately, the FTC didn't. And unfortunately, FTC decided to use Sony again as a useful idiot. They decided to prop them up as a defense for their case against Microsoft. And it's wound up biting the FTC's ass, and it's going to wind up biting Sony's ass at the end of the day. Because now they're going to be under more heavy scrutiny for what they've been doing in this industry as well. And there's going to be questions to be asked at the end of the day. Like we've said from the beginning, Mav, early on, we talked about Pandora's box. But Sony's going to be fine. But like you said, this brings the competition. This is what it's all about. We just heard Sony Corp is increasing PlayStation's funding by something like 15-20% to go out and make more games as a service to try to compete with Microsoft directly. This is something Sony never would have had to consider if Microsoft didn't start making the moves that they're making, right? This is something that Sony could have just sat back and continued to do what they do without ever having a second thought about, maybe we need to try to find some different streams of income. Maybe we need to go back to the drawing board and maybe start making some different games again, other than our third-person narrative-heavy driven games that everybody so much loves. Without Microsoft showing up at the end of the day, Sony didn't have any competition. Because again, as Sony says, Nintendo's not a part of this conversation. Just like the FTC said, Nintendo's not a part of this conversation. They don't worry about Nintendo. They do worry about Microsoft. And I keep saying Microsoft because this is their $2 trillion bank account that's brought Xbox to this point, along with, of course, the leadership team headed by Phil Spencer, who convinced Satya to dip into that bank account. But without that happening, Sony continues to rule the roost. And they may still be number one worldwide. That's certainly a possibility. But they can't compete when it comes to content, when it comes to acquisitions. They can't compete on the level that Xbox can now. And that's going to be the difference maker. Sony's definitely going to make moves with the abilities that they do have. They're still going to make third-party deals because the FTC said, hey, that's fine. So they're going to continue to do what they do in their strengths, but they are going to have to adapt at this point. Or like King David said, they will become an app. If they can't find their way forward. They rested for too long. They got too comfortable in the throne. We've seen this time and time again in this industry. It's not the first time this has happened. But Sony definitely got complacent. And now you see movement. Now they're uncomfortable. And that's exactly what this deal does. The deal doesn't change much. Call of Duty's still going to be everywhere. Everybody's still going to play Call of Duty. But it does make Sony uncomfortable because they don't get the marketing rights. Something they've relied heavily upon, something that Mav and I have talked about consistently here. They relied on third parties for too long to fill in their gaps. Microsoft, on the other hand, Xbox, on the other hand, I should say at this point, has been creating a diverse lineup, is actually trying to go out and acquire things so they don't rely on third parties for this specific reason. And for all the reasons that they listed off in court, how Sony has made it very difficult for them to do business with certain publishers and certain devs. Xbox understands their position very well. And they said, you know what? Screw it. Sony wants to continue to conduct business this way. That's fine. That's fine. Satya, come here. We need a checkbook real quick. We need a debit card, Satya. We're going to go get our own third-party devs and make them first party. And we're going to have so many that no matter what Sony decides to do, we don't have to worry because we've got an avalanche of games coming out for the foreseeable future. That's what they decided to do to insulate themselves from the rest of the industry. As Matt Booty said, as we heard, build the moat around the castle. They're insulating themselves. So again, love this. This acquisition, again, as Mav and I just got done talking about, the appeal is going to fail. Again, we don't deal in absolutes here, but 99% sure the appeal is going to fail. Microsoft is going to close this deal over the weekend. Come Monday morning, they're going to announce, or late afternoon, depending on when they can get it all paperwork filed, they will announce that they've acquired Activision Blizzard King. And again, FTC can continue to try their case. They can try to get this deal undone at the end of the day, down the road, all that kind of stuff. But the position that Lina Kahn's in, the FTC's in right now, I wouldn't be surprised if they lose the appeal and if Microsoft closes over the top, that they just silently back away into the night and they just kind of ignore it, kind of like they did with Amazon. So I think that's where we're at. Move on to the next one. Find a winner this time, Lina. Actually, find something that actually is wrong with an industry and go after that company. Don't make it your life's work just to break up trillion-dollar companies, as you stated publicly, just because you hate them so much. Actually make decisions based upon the laws and go after those companies that are actually doing something illegal. Not, and this was great too about Judge Corley, because we talked about this how many times, Mav? I don't know how many times, but Corley put it in her decision. Don't go after industries that are dynamic.
Yeah.
That are growing and changing all the time. You don't walk in there and mess with that formula that has been highly successful. In fact, so successful that it became the #1 entertainment industry in the entire world. Do not mess with that dynamic industry, because that's when you go sideways. And I was loving it when Corley said that in her final decision as well, Mav.
Yeah,
she talked about that directly. Yeah. You just don't do it. You just don't touch it.
Yeah, it's if there's nothing wrong with it right now, don't why try and mess with it? You know what I mean? It's like we have our little nitpicky things here and there about some of the deals that are made and the secrecy of the industry and all this kind of stuff. But you're trying to keep big moves like this from happening to protect a top player in the industry. It's just weird energy. You know, and it's not something that's necessary. In the grand scheme of things, does this make a $1 trillion company slightly larger? Yes, but not in any meaningful way that's going to change the way they do business in a lot of the other sectors that they're in. This is about entertainment, cloud gaming, and video games for the most part. So stay in your lane. You know, Jax82 with the $5 says, people forget when Xbox bought Bethesda, Phil honored those agreements for Deathloop and Ghostwire. Anything after that is exclusive to Xbox. From ZeniMax Bethesda. Yep. Yeah. So
he's always done that. They've always honored the deals, and now they're cutting new deals.
Yeah, now they're cutting new deals. Yeah.
And Microsoft pointed it out again today in the paperwork. You saw that, right, Mav? They pointed out that Bobby had called Jim to set up a brand new deal with him to try to ease his anxiety over this.
He said no. Again, he just wants them to block it.
Just wants the regulators to do their job.
That's what Lulu Chang was talking about that one time on Twitter, when she was like, you know, I heard him say this. You know, it's crazy, but you just want them to block the deal. Like it's not negotiating a good faith at that point, right? So
and
they don't get a deal.
Said we'll be okay. More than okay.
Do you think Microsoft just puts the games on PlayStation, or do you think they actually sign some kind of long-term deal at this point with PlayStation after?
I don't know, because they can just put the games on. They don't have to have
they don't have to have some sweetheart deal that they were offering before.
No, they can go year to year. You know, that was suggested. I think King suggested that that's what he would do, make him go to a year-to-year deal.
I think the only there's probably going to be concessions and remedies in the UK, but the only ones that have been public so far has been the EU remedies, right?
Right.
With cloud gaming.
Yep.
That didn't involve PlayStation, I don't think, at all with bringing games. In fact, they were excluded from the argument, remember? Because they had made mathematical errors.
Right.
So is there going to be a remedy that includes, I mean, the CMA didn't make PlayStation an argument. The EU didn't. So, you know, is there going to be a remedy with any of these that forces the games to have to be on PlayStation? Would a
No.
PlayStation?
No.
I'm not saying they're going to take their games off. I mean, it's pleaded over on on the stand that they're going to do it, right? Because it makes financial sense.
And the console market's not a consideration anymore, except for the FTC, right?
But when we talked before about leverage, when like PlayStation had at one point leverage for potentially a better deal, now they're just going to get what everybody else gets. I think, right? They could have played it into their hand before.
Yep.
They made a mistake. I think.
They did.
And they brought more attention upon themselves as well.
Well, yeah, no, that's Pandora's box, right? And the industry overall. That's why
Poison Maniacs corrected me. Yeah, it was the CMA that had the math error, not the the
math
EU.
error. Yeah, no, it was the CMA that did it. EU pointed out that error as a small slight to the CMA. Bloomberg reports that Microsoft is considering selling their UK cloud gaming rights to a telecommunications, gaming, or internet company to allow Activision deal to close. So that's the full terms that they're looking at. So they actually will just sell it off to somebody else and say, fine, we won't do cloud in UK.
Tom Warren was saying maybe EE, which is like a telecommunications company. And I remember that seeing like something about some kind of deal previously with them. I didn't really know who they were. That was a cloud gaming deal. I remember they had announced, and none of us were like, "Who was that?
Who's that?"
In the States, we were saying that. I think the UK consumer knows, but I actually have the Bloomberg article here. Thanks to
I can't read it.
Yeah, Jasper sent it to us. So thanks.
I saw it in there, but I can't because it's behind a paywall.
Oh, okay. So. No, he sent screenshots.
Oh, did he send screenshots? Yep. Oh, I didn't see that. I didn't see that yet.
Microsoft Activision way sale of some UK cloud gaming rights. Microsoft Corp and Activision Blizzard Inc. are considering giving up some control of their cloud gaming business in the UK as a way to appease regulators so they can complete their $69 billion merger by the July 18th deadline, according to people familiar with the matter. That could involve selling off the cloud-based market rights for games in the UK to a telecommunications, gaming, or internet-based computing company, said the people who asked not to be named, discussing confidential planning. A private equity company might also be interested, said one person. Both companies still think it's possible to close the deal, which would be the largest ever in the video game industry, before next week's deadline, the people said. They got a step closer on Tuesday when a U.S. judge declined the Federal Trade Commission's request to pause the deal. Goes on to say the software giant is re-engaging in talks with the UK Competition and Markets Authority, which had vetoed the deal in May. The CMA said Tuesday it's prepared to evaluate proposals from Microsoft, but the agency also said the companies would need to resubmit their transaction for the normally multi-month regulatory process to begin anew, which that is just absolute bullshit.
That makes zero freaking sense.
Yeah, it does. Also, complicating the company's push for a speedy resolution was the FTC's request Thursday that U.S. District Judge Jacqueline Scott Corley bar Microsoft from closing the deal while the agency appeals her ruling greenlighting the transaction. Corley has held up the deal's completion until 11:59 p.m. Friday in San Francisco, which now we do have a decision from Corley, Judge Corley, saying denied with that. So that has already failed. In its earlier decision, the UK regulator has expressed concerns that adding Activision content to Microsoft's xCloud service would restrict competition in the nascent market for video games that are streamed over the internet rather than downloaded to consoles or devices. Microsoft offers xCloud as part of a monthly gaming subscription. The CMA has said it strongly prefers structural remedies like a divestiture or to behavioral ones, under which the agency must monitor whether a company complies with its own promises. Now, I take exception to this because if you're a regulator, you got to regulate, right? What's the fucking point of your existence? Not to allow any deals that require oversight? Come on, do your jobs. As spokespeople for Microsoft and Activision declined to comment. CNBC reported earlier that Microsoft had offered a small divestiture to regulators without specifying what might be sold. So thanks for sharing that. And shout out to actually Idle Sloth had originally tweeted that with those shots. So shout out to Idle Sloth, always doing the work. Appreciate you. And interesting stuff. Now we know that there's a plan in place. We'll see what happens. Who ends up buying those cloud gaming rights? And that's I guess what their plan is for the UK.
Gotta say this too, Mav, right now. Like 400 people in our chat right now. Shout out to each and every single one of you. Nothing but love and respect for coming through and hanging with me and Mav tonight on a Thursday night. Unbelievable engagement. Like seriously, y'all, it's never it's never expected, but it's always appreciated here. So thank you all for being us, whether you're lurking, whether you're making this chat fly like it currently is. Man, oh man, thank you so much. And if you're enjoying the conversation, please do hit that like button if you can and share it out if you've got an extra moment, because it does help us. But man, wow, just impressive stuff here over on the Fun Speculation Network. Appreciate every single one of you. Mav, also up in the chat here, I've been seeing some people mentioning this, and I did glimpse this. We might as well just bring it up here because it's kind of fun.
Interesting thing too, like real quick, because this everything is happening real time right now because everything is moving so fast. We've had two breaking news things already just in our showtime, and that's the way I think it's going to go over this weekend.
Yes, it is.
It's going to be insane.
They're on a time crunch, right? The deal has to close Tuesday. It has to be done. Otherwise, they have to renegotiate, which neither side wants to do. They just want to get this thing done. And again, they're not going to allow these paper tigers to stand in their way, right? At this point, both the FTC and the CMA are paper tigers, and they're not going to allow this to happen. 40 countries now have approved it. We had South Africa. We had Turkey today, right? It sounds like New Zealand is going to pass as well at some point too. It sounds like they've seen enough of the FTC and CMA's arguments to understand that they're going to look dumb if they start siding with them. So we'll see. But 40 countries now, they're not going to allow these two to stand in their way when they're literally paper tigers at this point. That meaning that they have nothing. They just look scary, but they're nothing. They have no claws. They have no teeth. So I think this is a done deal too as well. But the rumor is, Mav, the rumor going around right now, Speculation Town is on fire. We got tour buses lined up outside city limits to get in right now because the latest rumor, and I don't know if you had seen this or heard this yet, Mav, today, because this started happening, I think, late. Jim Ryan is supposedly trying to end the marketing rights deal for COD this week.
Wow, like because he doesn't want to
give him. He doesn't want to give Microsoft the money.
So,
because he's going to lose COD anyways. You know what I'm saying? Because he knows he's going to lose it anyway. So he's being petty, ultra petty,
and doesn't want.
He's allowing his ego to make decisions right now. Right, and he's cashing checks that he might regret later on, but he wants to get, supposedly, again, this is just straight rumor. This is straight speculation. I haven't seen any real confirmation of this. If somebody has confirmation, let me know. But if he were to do that, Mav, what's your initial thoughts just hearing this? That Jim Ryan is so pissed off right now that he's just going to end the marketing deal. Screw Modern Warfare 3. Wouldn't it be awesome, by the way, Matt? Wouldn't it be awesome if he does this and they end the marketing deal? Microsoft or Xbox acquires ABK. Phil turns around and says, yeah, we're just going to go back to making it DLC. We're not going to have a full release this year.
Right.
Can you imagine if they pulled back the reins? Just said, yeah, no, we're just good. That's not going to be a full release.
Yeah, we looked at the game and just feel like it's not quite ready yet.
But what are your initial thoughts here? If he is going this route, if he is so upset now that he does not want to split the revenue with Microsoft Xbox directly, again, is he really going to play chicken here, Mav? Could we honestly see him down the road say, we don't want COD on PlayStation? We're not going to give you dev kits anymore? What do you think?
That sounds like one salty man. You know, that's that man is full of salt right now. You know, this deal goes through. If they were to actually do something like pull the marketing rights off of Call of Duty, which we already had seen kind of a stepping back of the marketing from them for COD before. I talked about this last year with Modern Warfare 2. We didn't see as much that we normally would see from them, right? So they already kind of were like, we're giving them money, but I don't want to put the stuff out there in case it seemed like, right? And now if we actually see this and they want to kill the deal, right? And that the last year that they have of it or whatever, it'd be absolutely hilarious. I'll be laughing all the way. Hypothetically, could you see a world where they would not want like some ABK games to even be on PlayStation? Somebody said this a long time ago, and I thought they were kind of crazy, right? Because, like, you know, it makes them so much damn money, right?
Right.
You know, but being salty enough to potentially say, I don't want these big games on our system that has Xbox Game Studios launching before it on those kind of games. Now, they already have it like with Minecraft and stuff like that, but I don't know, man. Like it's weird if you have the energy enough to kill that deal. I don't think that's actually going to happen, like by any stretch. But the thought of even killing the marketing deal just for the last year is still interesting enough to say that you don't want Microsoft to make that money, right?
Would that mean that Call of Duty can instantly go into Game Pass?
I could, right? I mean, it would. I would think so. Like if they did that, that would mean that there's no restrictions on any of that stuff. I don't know what deals they may have made with the EC as far as commitments, regarding that.
Let me jump in here real quick. Because King David's in the chat kind of giving us some information here. So real quick. So King is saying, let me go back up here because I'm trying to, because King's been chatting it up. Thank you, King, for dropping in here with some knowledge too, by the way. Let me see here. Let me see how far back I need to go here where he first started. Okay, so let's start here. King said he tried before. Bobby said no. And he said it was before. Let me see here. He said that was before the trial even started. And then he said they give back money, and he said he doesn't want to market a Microsoft game.
Right.
So that's what it comes down to. He doesn't want to market a Microsoft game. He said the deal is they gave ABK a break. Okay. The game will be in Game Pass, and they are marketing a $70 game. Exactly. Can you imagine, King?
Yeah. Well, they do it with the show.
Right. They do with the show. Absolutely. So they've already got experience doing this, right? So they've already got experience in some ways doing this. But let's see here. Oh my God. We got Rand L. Thor jumping in here as well, too.
We got a super chat from Alvin as well.
Yeah, we got Alvin in super chat too. But yeah, can you imagine? We'll get to the super chats here in a second. But can you imagine this, Mav? That they are that petty that Jim is going to turn down their marketing rights for Call of Duty, a game that still will make him the most money out of any deal that he has going, right? Out of any game that they have currently, third party wise, he will make the most money off of COD. That's not going to change next year. Even if it's another down, Call of Duty, let's say Modern Warfare 3, because we all scratched our heads when they said they were turning this into a full game, right? Even if it's a down game, it still will be the biggest money maker for PlayStation. He is going to turn that down so that he can say that he's not marketing a Microsoft game. Yeah. That is insane to me. Again, that is ego cashing checks, right? That is your ego making decisions that don't make financial sense. And this goes against everything that I've thought of Jim Ryan as a bottom line numbers guy, right? As a cutthroat kind of business dude who all he sees is numbers, could care less about all the minutia. He just wants those numbers to be right. That he would make this choice says a lot of how deep this deal actually does dig him. Now, we heard the email that said hey, we're going to be fine. We'll be okay. We'll be more than okay.
Right.
But underneath all that, when he's lying there awake at night at 3:00 in the morning, or he's been sleeping and he wakes up and sweats, right? And he wonders what that nightmare was. Was that Phil laughing with the Call of Duty rights right there in front of him? I mean, what
tossing and turning a little bit, flipping the pillow quite a bit more these last few nights, maybe,
Yep. It's interesting. It's interesting that he would, if this is true and this turns out to be real. I mean, Jim, more power to you, brother. I understand completely. Go ahead, kill the marketing rights. Hey, listen, Microsoft, as soon as you take over Xbox, Phil, when you take over on Monday and you announce this acquisition, please be the first phone call to Phil or to Jim and be like, hey, Jim, you still want to get rid of those marketing rights? Cool, we're done. Let's go. That's fine. That's not a problem. We're done. Because Call of Duty coming into Game Pass day and date, right out the gates, yes, and more yes is what Xbox has to be thinking, Mav. It has to be. Like, that is the perfect storm. Like, you've made Jim Ryan so mad, he's going to make a dumb decision like this. Okay. advantage Xbox 100% if this goes through this way. As far as the other question, again, that we both kind of were talking about, Mav, of whether or not Jim would ever get to the point where he says no to Activision Blizzard games, I can't imagine that, because again,
it seems like I'd be jumping off the deep end, right? Like
the nightmare of explaining to your fan base, because again, there's no way you could spin that right to customers, to gamers,
but
right? There's no
even let's say this, they threaten not to send dev kits for like the next PlayStation.
Sure,
right?
You still have to explain that to your fan base.
You have to explain why your fans don't get a PS6 version,
right? They get a PS5 version, right? And he can't complain. There's nobody he can turn to. He can't go turn to the FTC and say, "Oh, look, see, no parity." Well, no, if you don't provide the dev kits, that's on you. That's your responsibility. Microsoft can't do anything about that. Xbox can't make a game that they don't have dev kits for. So that would be on you. You'd be cutting your nose off to spite your face, right? Yeah. I mean, that's basically what you'd be doing, and you'd have to explain that to your gamers. And if you do want to see that mass movement, start making decisions like that. I mean, that's when you finally will, again, outside of the clowns in this community who would continue to praise it and probably be like, yeah, stick it to Xbox, show them, yeah, Jim, go. Besides those guys, no, the regular consumer would be like, what? No, what? No, I'm going to buy an Xbox. No, I'm not doing this. So yeah, you want to see that mass exodus from PlayStation that you guys were trying to, that the FTC was trying to claim would happen? Well, yeah, that will do it for sure. Make decisions like that.
Yeah. I know what they should do, Pong.
Yeah. What?
After this deal goes through, right?
Yeah.
All of a sudden, scrap any ongoing seasonal content and skin packs and all that stuff that currently Call of Duty has planned. And all of a sudden now, for all the rest of the seasons for Modern Warfare 2 and for everything that's going in Warzone and for everything going in the new Call of Duty, only have Xbox themed skin packs.
There you go. That would be great.
Force PlayStation players all to have to play as Master Chief and Marcus Phoenix and Banjo and Conquer and Pirates from Sea of Thieves. I just keep every season new Xbox themed packs. That would be amazing, bro.
Yeah, that would be.
Yeah. Do you think they would love, you think Jim would like that? I mean, it's not exclusive.
Nope.
Right? It's not exclusive.
Nope.
You get
both. You get to choose. You get
Let's go.
It's just, I just want my Christmas one. That's all I want.
The Christmas
I just want to make sure I want the Christmas one that the FTC was so worried about.
The Christmas one will be old Justin Timberlake and Andy Samberg themed Dick in a Box.
In a box. Oh my God. Can you imagine? That would be freaking awesome.
That would be great.
That'd be something that would actually fit in Call of Duty, by the way, too.
Yeah, it would. I mean, they got the boys in there now, right?
So right. They do. Yeah, absolutely. $5 super chat, Alvin. Maybe the reason Modern Warfare 3 hasn't been announced yet is because of this backroom marketing talk. Normally it's announced by this time of the year. Yeah, normally right around this period.
I think it's August. It's always in August.
Yeah, August, end of July. I was going to say the earliest I think I remember Call of Duty, but yeah, you're right, Alvin. Maybe they are holding off because this is actually going down, and maybe Bobby said no, but he's not going to have much say once Xbox takes over. So if they are just waiting until Monday, like I said, the first call would be to Jim, be like, yeah, heard you want out of this deal. Fine, let's sign the docs. You're done. That's fine. Game Pass day and date. Let's go. I would do it in a heartbeat if I was Phil. Again, if Jim wants to do this kind of stuff, let him continue to make cuts to himself. I would not have any sympathy. $5 super chat from the one, the only, the man with a million, Rand Al Thor 19, who has to deal. And Rand, I am extremely sympathetic towards your current situation, having to deal with Jez's ultra pessimism. My God,
we're just going to start calling him Pez.
Oh yeah, we need to start calling him Pez. That could be his new nickname, because my God, I don't know how I would handle it if I came on here and Mav was pulling the same bullshit that Jez currently is. Rand, I feel for you.
I'm cheering Jez on. Keep doing it, because he's been wrong every step of the way with this, and I feel like it's bad luck if he flips all of a sudden.
We know that's the underlying current of why Jez is doing this, right? It's the reverse psychology, but I can't stand even reading it. and hearing it from him.
Yeah.
Like, it's awful. But Rand says, Pong and Mav, you guys need to talk to Jez and tell him to stop trying to jinx the deal. He has gone off the deep end. Yes, he's doing the reverse psychology thing. He's lost once already. He's going to lose again, because I saw that he made another bet with you, Rand. He will lose again. So not only is he going to have to eat the hot chip, he's also going to have to owe you money, like you stated on Twitter today. So again, I hate it, brother. I sympathize with you. I just don't think we can talk him off that ledge. I think he's convinced now, right? He's convinced that he is the opposite. Well, I should say not the opposite. I should say that he's convinced himself by playing the pessimist, by being the opposite. He is now Microsoft and Xbox's lucky charm. I think that's what he's convinced himself of. And that if he continues to do it, this is going to continue to work. But no, I can't stand it myself either.
For sure. Jasper coming out with the Call of Duty facts like he usually does. So he says Black Ops Cold War was the latest reveal to release August 26th reveal and came out November 13th.
November 13th. Okay, so that was the latest.
So as latest they'll do is like late August.
Yep. Okay. Perfect.
He is doing the reverse jinx, Rand says. Yeah. I'm afraid if Jez came out and said it's going through now, though, what would happen? You know what I mean? Like, when all of a sudden, yeah, exactly. So Jez, just keep the same energy,
I don't
bro.
like it.
It's okay.
I don't like it, though.
Yeah, well, you know what? It pisses me off too, and I want to block him and mute him when I see it. But like, I know what he's doing, so I'm like, okay, Jez, keep it up. You know, let's go. I mean, if he loses the bet, the money's coming from Microsoft anyway, right? Paid firm.
Oh, wow.
You know, paid firm. You know, the Xbox 2, they're just their algorithm is just pushed because of Xbox. All that stuff. You remember?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Jez Venmo's ran from his golden toilet.
Yeah.
Microsoft paid for
absolutely.
it comes down to.
It's all that Microsoft money. You know, they were Jez was at FanFest. He went all the way across the country. Obviously, he had to be getting money from Microsoft to do that. You know, I mean, he has to be a millionaire.
Has to be.
At least.
Without a doubt.
I mean, he was handing out beans. Where do you think all that bean money came from?
Heinz beans are very expensive.
They are. Especially to get them across country lines. You know, you got to fly across the country with all those beans. How much would that cost?
You had to grease some palms to get it through importing.
Get it through customs.
So, come through customs, yeah. Food's not usually allowed.
Just ignore the beans. Everything's okay. Yeah, I don't think he minds losing a bet.
Oh, Jesus. Man, while we're here on the subject Call of Duty, did you see that Activision out of the blue starts fixing their older Call of Duty matchmaking on their older titles? Did you see this?
Say that again? I make sure
Activision out of the blue fixed all the matchmaking problems on their older titles. Call of Duty.
Okay.
Stuff people have been complaining about for years, Mav. Just got fixed.
All of a sudden.
Yeah, yesterday.
They've said, granted, they've said this before, right?
Sure.
I remember they were like, made this huge deal. They even had a big show about it. They were like,
yeah,
we're so excited to announce this unbeatable anti-cheat that's going to change Call of Duty forever. It's not hackable. It's going to be fair play for everyone, all this stuff. And we're super excited to launch it. The next day it was hacked. And there was just like even more hacks and cheaters than there was before. So we've seen this before. However, it would be amazing if it's true, right?
Yes, they are. People showed videos of it working properly now. People getting in matches of all these old titles, Call of Duty titles. So like just out of the blue, just okay. I wonder why.
Perfectly ready to be dumped into Game Pass.
Game Pass.
You know,
ready to rock and roll.
How long? Pong. Like, and this was what I've seen some people say, well, they can't put any until 2025. I don't know exactly what that's regarding.
It was in the court documents about Call of Duty showing up on Game Pass in 2025, but I believe that was specifically more about the new Call of Duty. Right. So the old stuff has got to be able to come in there.
So the library, like how long? Like we talked a little bit about this before last week on our to ABK or not to ABK or what's going to happen in the world of both things as we're waiting Judge Corley's decision. Now we know what the decision is. And this appeal is going to fail, I think. So how long after closing potentially by Monday, after that, do we have to wait for a dumping of either Call of Duty or other Activision Blizzard games into Game Pass?
like I said, I think it's going to be in waves. I don't think it'll be one extreme dump. However, now that I see them going back and fixing all the Call of Duty titles, maybe the Call of Duty stuff will be a dump, right? Maybe the older Call of Duty titles will all get dropped at one time, and then they'll slowly roll out the rest of the Activision games back catalog over time. I don't know, man. Personally, I think it's still going to be a rollout. But again, this gives me pause that they're going in there and fixing all these older titles, Call of Duty titles, matchmaking. That means they're expecting an influx of a lot of people, which again, if you're going to dump it in the Game Pass, you know how many people are going to go back and play Blops 2? Right?
Yeah.
Do you know, like, it's going to be insane. Like, those servers are going to be like old school times, like for a while at least, till everybody gets their fill of it. But I don't know, Mav. Do you got any other thoughts on it?
I don't know. I think as people pointed out, ZeniMax Bethesda, like literally the same week we got some games, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be, I think, in waves, right? I think
Right.
Could they have already been working behind the scenes, like on the Activision Blizzard side, in preparation for
Yep.
potential, right? I don't know. I think with the one aspect where it comes to like the Call of Duty games, I think like being implemented with PC side as well, potentially with some of them that may have not been on PC before, would be interesting if they could pull that off. One example is like we see my Master Chief Collection right now keep getting support, right? Old game, keep getting support. That's not really something that Activision has done necessarily with Call of Duty. I don't think they just kind of move on to the next title, move on to the next title, right? But would it be interesting if under Microsoft you have not only all these games coming to Game Pass, but some of them have some maybe added features all of a sudden a PC release as well. You have cross buy, cross progression, cross save. You have all this other stuff to implement and make it even more exciting for those games to be hitting, other than just a dumping of old stuff, right? So that would bring more excitement to some of these older titles, I feel like, but that obviously involves at least a little bit more work to do so. So I don't know, maybe they could do something like that and add some stuff or here and there, make it a little bit more exciting at when you're bringing it in, or you could just shove them in there, be like, here you go, right? Here's all these games on Xbox, and you get to play them right now in Game Pass. Then there's all the other types of games, right? Like Tony Hawk and all that kind of stuff. And I think those are probably easier, but
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
You would think so. You would think so. And Jasper did confirm that all the titles, the older Call of Duty titles, were broken like almost shortly after they went backwards compatible
Yeah.
with the matchmaking. You couldn't find matches at all. So
Did you guys see the chat mention FPS boost? But like all these Call of Duties run at 60 already, but
yep.
could you get 120 frames FPS boost, or maybe resolution boost on some of the older ones?
We talked about this. Fire it back up. Jason, you got to get the team back together again. The band's got to get back together again. It's time to look at these Activision Blizzard titles for sure. That would be number one. Because I can imagine that Bobby and Activision told him no on a lot of the games, right? And said no, and don't touch our games.
Yeah, because
right?
they're planning to maybe potentially resell stuff or whatever,
Right, exactly.
Like a
exactly.
approach.
Now it's yours. Go get it done. Let's see it. Let's get it fired back up. Let's do it. Interesting times, Mav. We said from the beginning that this case, we've been fascinated by this case from the beginning because of how much we were going to learn. I say we learned more than we ever thought we would about this entire industry, specifically about Sony and even Microsoft's inner workings, right? My whole image of Matt Booty has changed, right? Because we got to see his internal, how he talks internally about things. Like, this was a gold mine and then some. This might have been a gold mine and a diamond mine on top of it. And when we said that this deal would shape the industry going forward, like this was going to have ripple effects, we are going to see those ripple effects. If they close this deal and they get this done, there are going to be other big players out there, Tencent, Amazon, etc., that are going to go after publishers, right? This is going to shape the industry. Now, there's people out there who hate that. There's people out there who can't stand the idea of consolidation, but the facts are, the reality are that this industry, being as dynamic as it is, being as large as it is right now, this was bound to happen. It's in a healthy state. Consolidation happens when things are healthy. Now, is everything going to get gobbled up? No, that's not what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Again, this industry is too big. We pointed that out time after time. Every week, it seems, Mav, there's a new studio opening or somebody's expanding. Just how people can fly. People can fly. Listen, people can fly. They just signed a deal with Microsoft for a new game. They just went through the whole Outriders fiasco with Square, where they said they still haven't gotten paid. They just announced they're opening a new studio in Canada.
Yeah.
Out of the blue. This is people can fly. They haven't had like this huge monumental success of a game, and yet they're still expanding their studios. They're opening up a brand new studio in Canada.
Pretty big investment from Microsoft.
Huge.
It secures People Can Fly's future a little bit as well.
Right.
It shows they were on their radar too. I think they were one of the ones on their list.
They were on their list. So, yes, absolutely.
There's so many on their list. It's like if you name one, it was probably on their list, right? But
but that's the point, Mav, is that this industry is going to go through. Industries go through this even when they're healthy. It's not just about when doom and gloom times. And it doesn't mean the end all be all of everything if the industry does consolidate somewhat. Again, this industry is not going to go, it's not all of a sudden going to become big conglomerates. There's too much room for indies. There's too much room for double A's. There's too much room for other content outside of just the big triple A, big money stuff all the time. That's been proven over and over and over again. So, but what we said from the beginning was that this case was fascinating. This deal was fascinating as being the largest in the industry's history, the largest in Microsoft's history. That's all played out. Would you agree, Mav, that you feel the same way, that we're witnessing a moment in time within the video game industry where we're going to look back 10, 15, 20 years from now and we see a different kind of shape of everything and we go, that was a defining moment right there with Microsoft and ABK.
Yeah, and I think mainly because of what it's going to do for subscription gaming in a way. Like I think it's going to help bolster that to another level and create more competition potentially on PlayStation side to have to up their game, which is kind of, it brings you back to like the early days of like Netflix and all that kind of stuff where people were like, oh, Netflix is, at first they thought it was never going to work. Remember switching to streaming, getting rid of disc? What are you, crazy? And then it's like, well, they're the only player. Now there's Disney and Amazon and like Paramount, and you got Max and all these different apps, Hulu. You can keep going on and on about different apps that are in that competition of that space right now. And I feel like this is kind of like the early days of that within gaming in a way. And you've had a lot of pushback again, like we always do when technology pushes things forward, when there's new business models. But I think you're going to see it in an acquisition like this puts more pressure on the competition to up their game on their offerings. You see PlayStation trying to do that with PlayStation Plus when they switched all of their SKUs up to try and drive people to the ecosystem and start paying for more subscriptions. And it's worked somewhat, but they're still behind. And I think that's going to force them to hopefully start making better strides, not only with putting games into their subscription more early, not necessarily day one right away, but they'll push those dates up. And like GT7 still not in there. It's crazy, right? But then also on the PC side, rumors are they're working on an app. Yep. King David thinks they'll just eventually become that app. They're working on an app for PC. They need to get all that implementation better. When a company offers value, it creates a competition to try and match or hopefully compete with that value, right? So that's what it's all about. And I think we're kind of more seeing that within content in the gaming space of who owns the content and all that kind of stuff. The other interesting thing is here, though, regardless of any of that, gaming is very different than a lot of these industries because there's so many companies that come out of nowhere, make something, and all of a sudden become massive, right? And people say, well, it's harder and harder for indies to compete, or it's harder and harder for these creators to do this. And yeah, it takes a long time sometimes to make a quality product, but you also have your stories like the Among Us developers, right? Who had a game that was just sitting there for a long time. All of a sudden it got popular and this is phenomenon, right? You just had a game launch called BattleBit Remastered that's on Steam. It's like $15 and it's battlefielding better than Battlefield, right? You have millions of people buying it. Made by 3 developers over like 7 years, and it's becoming a monster success.
Correct.
Games like you could go you could go on. I mean, there's like several. You had that Halo rip-off game last year that caught the world by storm for a while. You know, Minecraft
Vampire
originally
Survivors.
started like that. Vampire Survivors is another one, right?
You $3 game.
You have these developers, these indie guys or these small teams that create something. Guess what? Whatever that is could be the next big thing in gaming. And that's happened. That's how a lot of these companies formed to become what they are today. And with how accessible tools are for developers who are smart enough to be able to spend their time investing in making these types of games, there's opportunity there. Now, are more of them potentially going to strike out than succeed? Yes, but that's the same with pretty much most industries, right? So there is a lot of potential there for success. And the fact that acts like there's only certain players that will always be there, and those are the only ones that matter, and nothing else will ever change, is completely false. And that's why consolidation is not a concern within the gaming space. Yeah, you may have IPs and you may have content and stuff bought up, but whatever the next IP is that's going to be big, nobody knows. Nobody can predict that. Fortnite changed things. Nobody heard the word Fortnite before Fortnite became Fortnite, right? Before that,
Fortnite first launched was like meh, like everybody.
Yeah, they just had the save the world mode until they came out with Battle Royale, which then kind of supplanted PUBG, which was another brand new brand from a small team that took the world by storm, right? Like these stories go on and on and on, right? Like there's no just, well, we only have the publishers that we have, the Ubisofts, the EAs, the Take-Twos, and there's only so many of those, and when they get bought, that's all there is. Everybody will just own all the games. Not when you have tools like Unreal Engine 5 out there and all these different other platforms for people like you and me or whoever has the smarts to actually be able to make a game, creating whatever they could dream of, right? And that's the world of video games. That's why you have publishers and new studios get formed all the time. Playground has had people leave and form 2 different studios just within the last year.
Correct.
It's dynamic. It's always evolving. You know, it's definitely a change when there's a large move like this, right? It definitely shifts the tide. But like a former Sony executive said, Jack Tritton, I believe is who it was.
It was.
That leaves a hole, and it's actually good for the industry. Somebody else can maybe step up and try and fill that hole.
One of my favorite interviews. Yep. Because he shot down all that doom and gloom. And Jack Tritton knows his shit. Jack Tritton knows his shit. And he said, nope. He said, what it does is just create more opportunity when a big publisher like Activision is bought up. Yeah. Because again, the industry is healthy. It's not dying. Again, it's not. So from that standpoint, that just leaves a big role that somebody else can come in and fill in, or 3 companies can come in and fill the role of Activision. We don't know. One of them could become the next Activision, as Jack said. That's how it works in this industry. And right now, that's when you want this to be happening. Now, if the industry is dying and you're seeing a bunch of consolidation, that's when you can start dooming and glooming. But Strauss Zelnick could Take-Two, another very smart dude. He kind of understands the games industry, maybe just a tad little bit. He said 20 plus years of growth left remaining in gaming. Just saying. Yeah. We're in a good spot.
For sure.
Oh, man. Good conversations, man. 2 hours just flew on by, Brody. Just flew on by. Freaking amazing.
Do we have any other topics?
That's what I was gonna. I mean, do you want? I mean, I don't even know if like there's like anything. I mean, there's a couple things. Hey, how about this one, Mav?
I do want to, before we move on, do you think it's more likely that we see a closing tomorrow night or Saturday or Monday?
Monday.
Because
I think there's a lot of paperwork to get done. There's a lot to do between now and then. It's not like, hey, Phil sign here, Bobby sign here, and the deal's done, right? We just got to get this notarized real quick. No. There's a ton to be done. Obviously, like I said, they've probably been prepping on both sides, but I think it'll take them the weekend, and I think Monday will for sure get the deal. They'll announce it. So they're pressing hard. This is it. This is the, like, 4th and goal, Mav. Like the whole offensive line is moving forward and we're trying to get that inch, right? That's Emmett's trying to plunge in the end zone. So this is where we're at right now. So no, I think Monday it gets announced. I think no matter what, like unless they get the temporary.
Did you just say Emmett?
Yep, I did.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, no problem. Hey, bro, you got your Dallas Cowboys hat on. What am I going to do? I got to give you the reference, right?
It's the GOAT.
No.
Hey, who's the all-time rushing leader in the NFL?
Don't matter. Who had the best offensive line for his entire career?
Half of his career, he had a great offensive line.
Bro, okay, outside of the Arizona Cardinals, yeah, okay. When he went to AZ,
he was only there for a couple of years.
Correct.
Come on.
Correct. That's what I'm saying.
Before that, the Cowboys sucked for like a long time when he was on.
He still had a great bro. They had Larry Allen out the gate.
Yeah, they still had Larry, but Larry got old, and
man could move 3 people by himself. Bro, Emmett didn't get touched for the first 5 yards almost every single carry.
He was great. He was great at shaking off the first hit.
Listen,
go back and watch the tape.
Listen, I was a Barry Sanders fan, so you already know my joke.
Barry's great. So, love Barry.
No.
Quitter.
No.
Quitter.
Detroit screwed him over.
Yeah,
you know that. Detroit screwed over a lot of people.
Barry quit.
Yeah, go talk to Calvin. Did Calvin Johnson quit?
Oh. Yes. No. Yes, he did. He quit. Megatron quit
because of Detroit. Because of Detroit. The Lions suck. Anyways, we're not gonna get into football. Emmett is up there, but there are people ahead of him, in my opinion.
Fair enough.
So he's up there.
Fair enough.
I'm not gonna take everything. He's still got to make the runs. He's still got to make the reads.
Where would you put him? Top 5 at least for you?
I'd have to rerun through my list again. He's top 7, top 5.
Top 7. At least give him
maybe top.
Talent-wise, Barry's the best ever.
Barry, Walter, Jim Brown, Gale Sayers. Then I would have to start looking. But Emmett could make top 5.
Okay.
Emmett could make top 5.
Fair enough.
So there's a lot of people in there. No, Emmett, like I said, I didn't like Emmett because it was always Barry Sanders and Emmett, but I would have to go through my list just to see, but I won't take it away from him. He did have great.
We'll have this discussion on another stream.
Yeah, we'll have this. Yeah, another stream. I've got the Monday night game on videotape, by the way. VCR. Yes, folks, kids, VCRs did exist at one point. I've still got the tape of Emmett versus Barry Monday night when they both went over 100.
Yeah,
and I think Barry wound up with. Did he break 2?
I think they were both over like 150 or something.
Yeah, they were both over 150 back and forth that night. Yeah, I've got that.
It's crazy.
Tape. Freaking insane game. Oh my God, I still remember it. Sorry for the football side tangent, everybody. Listen, now
our UK listeners are really confused.
Yeah,
right
they're
now.
just like Jesus. Yeah, they're just like, wow.
What the fuck
American
are these two
football
on about?
American football, everybody. All right, so Need for Speed Most Wanted is supposedly coming back next year, brother, according to the voice actor who starred in the original game. Again, we're in speculation town, rumors. Take it with a grain of salt. VGC reported on this. Shout out to Andy Robinson, who's got Matt Block still. Listen, Need for Speed Most Wanted. I would rather have Underground, but I'll take a Most Wanted, right? I'll take a Most Wanted. What about you, Matt? You think this actually happens after they just released Need for Speed?
Yeah, I like Most Wanted as well. It wouldn't surprise me. I think Need for Speed is making a big comeback. Unbound was actually really good. It kind of was sort of like Underground in some ways, but
not Underground.
No, it's still not Underground. However, I did enjoy playing Unbound. I thought the gameplay was excellent.
It was better. Than
graphics were good. I had a lot of fun with it. The art thing with the graphic stuff they did was interesting. It wasn't too bad. But Most Wanted, I feel like, has a different vibe.
Yes.
That would be really cool to see. The thing is, a lot of people love the Most Wanted games. They're not like in my top tier for Need for Speed for me personally.
Okay.
I like Hot Pursuit and Underground are my top tiers. Right.
I like most. I'd have to put Most Wanted up there. But yeah, no, I understand what you're saying. I can see why you'd say that. But Underground 2, like the chat saying Underground 2 is freaking GOAT.
Yeah, I agree. Underground 2 is amazing.
Oh my God.
It just seems so simple. Like if they announced a new Need for Speed Underground, that would just be like huge. As long as they got it right, you know. But they've remade Most Wanted a couple times now.
Chat, you're killing me. Yeah.
Because they've already had another remake of Most Wanted or a reboot of it or whatever.
Reboot. But if they actually just went back to the original,
Hot Pursuit as well, they've redone a couple times.
which
But
wasn't.
they refuse
as
to
good
do
as I thought it should
underground.
be. Yeah, I don't know why they refuse to do underground. I don't get it. Like that doesn't make any sense to me because most people, if you ask them, Need for Speed people who played all of them, underground is like the best. Like it literally is. Everybody loved that game. Fuck, it was so good, man.
It just fit with the culture that we like with the style of cars mostly and stuff. I think
Yeah.
What about that test drive game? Did you see that?
Ooh,
Did you see the Solar
yes, I
Crown
watched it. I
video?
watched it. Well, first of all, it's an alpha build. So if you guys watched it, you have to realize this is an alpha build. I will say extremely underwhelmed, Matt. Extremely underwhelmed. They've got a lot of work to do. A lot.
Yeah.
What'd you think?
What does it? You think it's better than what Ubisoft showed from the Crew,
No.
or Motorfest? I mean, Crew
No,
Motorfest.
I think it's got better. I think it's got more potential, but I don't think it was better. I put them on par with each other as far as roughness goes, right? The thing with me is I give them credit for trying the social aspect yet again. I think the social aspect is cool, but my God, when your models look like Forza Horizon 5 audience models, and that's supposed to be a
people
main
that are just standing there. Yeah,
that's supposed to be a main even your main characters, man, that you created look that bad. If that's going to be a main aspect, there has to be effort put into that. You need those characters to look like they belong in current gen, not 2 gens ago, right? That's like that's the vibe I was like, whoa, no. So that I will give them credit for. I like certain parts of the aesthetic, but again, the nighttime city looked boring, bland. The cities in general looked empty to me, felt empty to me while I was watching it. The night city looked completely like these generic pre-built buildings that you just put up everywhere and added a couple signs here and there. The daytime looked much better to me than the nighttime did. The racing, I think Fuzzy said it in our DMs, and it was what I was thinking at the time. The racing looked mobile, like a mobile game.
Racing. It looked bland and generic, and the graphics looked bland and generic, and the gameplay looked bland and generic. Can there be fun in it? Yeah, probably so, but it didn't look like Test Drive Unlimited as good as that, which was pretty awesome. We did have a $5 super chat earlier from Fantas Archer.
Ooh, thank you, Fantas Archer.
$5 says conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
What if Jim denies dev kits and ABK games to prove to regulators that Microsoft lied about keeping COD on PlayStation?
It'd be that's why I said it'd be provable.
Yeah, it'd be provable. Wouldn't work.
That wouldn't work because that'd be his choice. Again, that'd be his choice not to do it. At the end of the day, he can say whatever he wants to. It's a business decision. We're not giving up our secrets to Microsoft, blah, 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 blah. You can say all that, but it's still his choice to not provide dev kits. Microsoft, Xbox can't create what they don't have access to.
Yeah.
So they would be off the hook. That'd be the easy win for Xbox right there. And again, Jim would have to explain that to his fans, his gamer base, as to why he made that business decision so that they don't have access to the latest and greatest Call of Duty. Good luck, Jim. Good luck.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't see any way. I don't see any way that Jim would. I mean, again, it would be provable that he didn't provide the tech, so they can't do it. Period.
Yeah. True. What if they do it and then try and just go after Microsoft independently still, like not involving the FTC, like or any kind of,
I don't know. I don't know. I don't see how that would go. I don't see what they could go after him for.
I'm just trying to think of how petty Jim is, and like, I'm wondering. Like,
I mean, again, I can see Jim cutting more deals and cutting Xbox out of a lot of third-party games. I mean, that I can certainly see.
So what's PlayStation? This is a good. Okay, so let's go here, Pong. I'm interested in and so we've talked about plenty of like what does Xbox do in this new world now that they own ABK, and especially on the show last week on Xbox Ultimate. But what does PlayStation now do to respond in this world in which Call of Duty is now owned by Xbox, in which every Call of Duty sale, every microtransaction, everything that's sold within not just Call of Duty, but ABK games, Diablo, and all these others is making Microsoft money, right?
Yeah.
What does PlayStation do and to offset this or try and do they double down and spend more, like you said, like Square deals and stuff like that? Like who's next for them? Do they, there's been rumors, right? Like people saying they're gonna go get this company or that company.
Mhm.
But within reality, like what do you
Within
think's
reality,
possible? Could they go
they
get From Software? Is that possible? Like I
yeah,
don't know.
that's possible. They're already invested partly into them. They have to buy Tencent out because Tencent also owns a part of From, but that's not out of the realm of possibility that they could go get From Software. Obviously, they go. I mean, I think their big move would be to make sure to get the marketing rights to GTA 6, right? I think that's
Yeah.
their big move is to have GTA 6
People
aligned
before
with
were trying to say they go buy Take Two and shit like that. It ain't happening. They can't.
Strauss and his investors. They could, Sony couldn't offer enough money to make that group sell right now on the cusp of launching GTA 6, which guaranteed outside of epic proportioned failure will become the fastest selling video game in history, potentially the first weekend it's out, right? You're not going to get that group to sell. Okay.
Yeah.
You couldn't offer them enough money. So that's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. But again, could they go get the marketing rights? Yes. Could they go get exclusive content for GTA 6? Because we know GTA 6 will be monetized to hell and back. Could they go guarantee that they have exclusive content just like they did on Call of Duty? Absolutely. They could go do that. Could they make sure that DLC comes first to PlayStation? Absolutely. They could go do that. I think that's a mega deal waiting to happen because it is the response that I would have if I lost the Call of Duty marketing rights, right? That would be my response. We go, fine. I'm just going to make sure, even if we were discussing it, I'm going to make sure that deal's done and signed, that I have GTA 6 marketing rights. That's the first big thing I do. Acquisition wise, again, they have to be strategic. They don't have the capital. They can raise a certain amount of capital. I'm not in the group that says they don't have the money to go get anybody, but they have to be very strategic. If they could convince Yves to walk away from Ubisoft, right? If they could convince Yves, now again, there's a huge investment from Tencent there as well. But could Sony raise enough capital because Ubisoft's value is at a low point? Ubisoft is very undervalued right now. Could they raise enough capital to go after Ubisoft? Yes. If you want to counter this move, that's the move you make. I know other people say EA. Listen, EA isn't worth the money that it would cost because of the licensing aspect. They make all their money off their sports games due to licensing. You're buying EA not with the licenses. At any point, the NFL could say, nope, 2K gets the license again. At any point, like we saw with FIFA, right? You lose the license. So EA isn't as valuable as it currently is because they're making a lot of money off licensed products. So again, EA would want a premium. I don't think they go do that. But I think Ubisoft, with obviously Assassin's Creed being a gigantic franchise and big plans for that, and some of the other stuff behind the scenes, you would have to buy that company. You would have to do some major reconstruction of Ubisoft, which means you would have to be the bad guys and you would cut a lot of jobs out of Ubisoft, right? Sony Corp would have to be willing to take that hit in public because they would have to trim Ubisoft and make it more like a Sony run studio from the aspect that there wouldn't be a whole lot of fat, right? It would have to be trimmed down. So, but I think Ubisoft would be the play right now because they're very undervalued for what they own. Very undervalued.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I said Square, but I think Microsoft goes and does Square next.
Yeah. So Square's next, maybe because that's the most likely target and it would impact PlayStation the most, right?
And you just
ruthless.
Yeah, you just guarantee that those games come to your.
It would make the biggest change for Xbox currently.
Outside of Sega, yes. Outside of Sega, yes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Sega games already have the partnership, so a lot of those games already come. But like, if they're trying to make the biggest change and impact to what's available now, that would be
huge. I want somebody to buy Square because I want Square to be fixed. I don't care if Sony buys them. Like, that's cool. If Sony wants to finally put a ring on it, go do it, Sony, because they need help. Like, they need help. They need management to be cleared out and better decision makers put in place. They have to. But again, if Sony wants to go buy them and make all their stuff exclusive, okay. I mean, that's fine with me. I don't care.
Let's think about this too, though. Like,
Yeah.
I think a part of this world we could be going into is mergers more with potential publishers merging. Maybe because we know EA has been out there looking for a partner, but they want to maintain control, right?
Yep.
Those have been heavily documented. So let's play matchmaker, Pong. Matchmaker, matchmaker, make me a match.
Okay.
Which two publishers would be the best fit to merge? Let's say this consolidation thing. If this acquisition sets off a chain of dominoes, and which falls to where these other companies trying to become bigger and stuff. Which other not platform holders? I want to stay out of Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo.
That's fine.
Which publishers are the best fit?
EA and Ubisoft would be massive.
Yeah.
If you could make the work, if you could make the management work, EA and Ubisoft would be gigantic. They would be a force to be reckoned with in the industry. They're both are in their own separate ways. Ubisoft much less nowadays, but you put those two together, bro, that's a huge, huge.
In that case, I would want EA to be in charge because
100%. Put Zempella in charge of Ubisoft completely.
Right.
Go ahead.
Like I think like Ubisoft has tried to EA and EA's done a better job at it.
Yes, they figured out. EA figured it out. Unbelievable.
A way to live in both worlds.
Figured it out. Yes.
They'll do this. Yes. They can still do the slimy things and still do the really cool things.
Correct.
As well.
Correct.
Ubisoft is just a little bit too much on one end of the spectrum right now.
Yep. We'll 100%. And then you want to give one?
What would be I want to think would be the biggest disaster? Is Ubisoft and Square getting together?
Yeah, Ubisoft and Square would be the biggest disaster of all time.
Would be a fucking shit show, man.
Oh my god, neither one.
Could you imagine?
Oh my god, bro. Yeah, both with massive weaknesses in management skills.
Yeah,
lining themselves together, bro. No, that's bankruptcy waiting to happen. Like that's terrible. Like I can't imagine.
I got a good fit though.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sega and Capcom.
Yes. That would be a good one. I don't think it's necessary for either one of them.
But I don't think either of them would need it.
Yeah.
But it would be cool. It just kind of seems like it would vibe. You know what I mean? Like
it would in a lot of ways.
I think Capcom could make great use of the Sega IPs. Yep. You know what I mean? Yep. And then Sega could do a lot of things with the Capcom stuff. I just think it would be really cool to see.
No, it would be really cool. I was going to say Square and Capcom or Square and Bandai Namco. I've said those two before. I think those two, Bandai Namco and Capcom, have both figured out how this game's business works in 2023, and both of them would be strong suitors for Square Enix, keeping it in the East, keeping it underneath the Japanese control. Both of them could show Square how to do gaming nowadays, and I think that would be huge, especially with the come up of Capcom back to as strong as it is. Its strength right now, it's probably at the peak right now. Almost this almost is Capcom of 360 era. So now that Capcom's completely turned it around, to bring in Square and show them the ropes and bring those franchises from Square Enix back to life again, my god, it'd be huge, man. It would be gigantic. And then Bandai Namco, same thing. Bandai Namco has never been the player per se that a Capcom or a Square Enix has been, but they have learned their lessons, and they've been a consistent publisher throughout the years, a consistent developer throughout the years, and they've adapted to what's happened in this industry very well. And you bring Square underneath them with those IP and Bandai Namco's own IP that they currently have in the JRPGs and the RPG sector, that's gigantic, man. That would be a great move, right? So yeah, either one of those, and Square would bring their mobile publishing to both of those companies, right? Which would be its own strength, because one thing Square does do well in the East is do the mobile publishing. They're the number one mobile publisher over there. So yeah, I think that would be a benefit. Huge. God, I'm still thinking about your Ubisoft Square proposal.
That would be such a shit show. It would be a circus, man. See them run around in circles and try and figure out what to make.
Yeah. I can't imagine. Like, they both would be sitting they'd be sitting in a room together making decisions like, NFTs are hot right now. That's what we've heard. Let's push together. Let's both do NFTs at the same time.
Yeah, what if
Oh,
we made Assassin's Fantasy the NFT game?
oh, yeah. No, 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 no. Yeah, Yoshi P, take over Skull and Bones, would you?
um,
Oh, that's a nightmare scenario right there. Nightmare.
Speaking of EA Pong,
Yep,
there is a new Black Panther game that's coming.
there is. EA finally announced what we knew thanks to Grub last year, right?
Yep.
So, single player, open world. Supposedly, this is the new Seattle-based dev team
Yeah.
with
Third
the
person as well, I think.
third person,
Yep.
correct? Yep, as well, with the former one of the former heads of Monolith, right?
Yes.
Now at the lead. I forget his name
I think
offhand,
it's
but
Kevin Stevens, maybe
something like
off the top of my head. That could be
something like
completely
that.
wrong.
It's
Help us
close to
out,
that.
chat. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a
but
generic guy's name.
it's pretty generic guy's name. But yeah, no, they finally announced it again. EA, definitely working with the Marvel IP yet again. So I I have, I guess, as much confidence as I can with who's handling it. I mean, again, this is a brand new studio, but you do have a former head of Monolith. Monolith knows how to make these licensed IP games. So okay, give it a go, EA. Just don't screw it up. Again, you don't want to screw up an IP like Black Panther.
Yeah.
You really don't. You're gonna get it
Yep.
if you mess this one up. So don't. So, but no, it's great. Again, for all the Marvel fans, you know what? I was gonna bring this up too, Mav, while we're here. First of all, what are your thoughts on Black Panther and EA? Do you think it's a good fit? Do you think they can actually pull this off? What do you think?
I think I'm a fan of these kinds of games, right? I feel like the more you get, the better chance there is to have good ones. And
Right.
this developer's proven from Monolith before. He's made a great franchise that they had two great games from with Lord of the Rings, Shadow of War games, Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War. So I feel like, hey, good opportunity there. Um, there's lots of these games starting to get developed. Skydance has a Captain America / Black Panther game. So the one thing is like it's interesting, and I will say a little. I'm not gonna say like alarming, but like a little worrisome to an extent that a lot of these games are going to unproven studios or new studios, or studios that have been small and then grown up. Now we've seen it was a success with Hogwarts Legacy. That studio wasn't known for making big, huge games, and they nailed
Oh,
it to a
Hannah
lot of
Montana World Tour.
right. So, but we saw what happened with Aspire, with Knights of the Old Republic. Supposedly that didn't go well. Not necessarily all their fault. Supposedly,
No, thanks to Jim Ryan and Sony.
there could be some Sony to blame there because it seemed like things were actually going on track
Mm.
before that happened. But then now you have Skydance, Amy Hennig's new studio, getting two big IP games, Star Wars and the Captain America Black Panther game from in the Second World War II era. And now you have another new EA studio getting this Black Panther game. Now, that being said, I think out of all of them, I think I have the more high hopes with the EA one because they have the support of all the other EA studios that can help out with that. The Skydance media, I have a little bit less faith in just because that's a completely new thing. They're talking all this stuff. We got to see it play out. Amy Hennig has great experience, but I don't know. So it would be awesome for me if it was like, hey, well-known, great studio that has amazing game after amazing game after amazing game is making Black Panther, right? That would give me a little bit more faith, that it's going to be awesome. But I'm going to hold judgment and wait and see what it looks like when it comes closer. If EA puts everything into it, there's a lot of these games that are looking great now, and even Ubisoft is looks like they're going to have a hit with Star Wars Outlaws, as well. So yeah, I like to see these kind of games, and I hope they keep coming. I want Microsoft to invest more in this regard as well with Xbox. I think it's kind of a hole. Indiana Jones is trying to fill that, but I'm hoping after ABK this becomes more of a thing as well from their side.
Yeah, no, I agree. What I was going to bring up, Mav, was it's not game related, but I wanted your opinion as somebody who is obviously a huge MCU fan, etc. What do you think if it could affect the game side of things, we had Bob Iger come out today. I think it was today or it was yesterday, talking about the oversaturation of the MCU and Star Wars,
Hmm.
right? Movies, TVs, programs, etc., and talking about how it's affected the fan base, right? That the fan base is burnt out basically at this point, right? That they are not seeing the numbers and they're actually going to pull back
Hmm.
from both Star Wars and the MCU. Crazy that it took Bob Iger to come out and say this, that people don't realize this as to what's going on. Obviously, they see dollar signs and they just
Yeah.
push forward. Um, you know, but from your standpoint, we've heard, we just heard last year, right, that they are, that Lucas is basically handing out IP licenses like candy again, that they want Star Wars games coming out like nonstop, right?
Yeah.
And we've seen a ton of Marvel games as well, and we've got more on the horizon. We just talked about Black Panther, et cetera. We got an Iron Man coming out. Like you said, Amy Hennig's studios got the Captain America and Black Panther game coming out as well. Plus, there's rumors of more IPs in the works out there as well. We got Star Wars Outlaws coming, Outlook, I think, Eves. Outlaws coming as well. So we see Star Wars games starting to be churning out as well on top of Star Wars,
Hmm.
Jedi Survivor, etc. Do you think that this new revelation that Bob, Bob Iger, now that he's back in charge of Disney, had, and he sees that the fan base is starting to, just again become not they're just becoming overwhelmed with how much content there is, and that's creating problems, right? Not everybody wants to follow this stuff like that. Do you think that translate to the games too? Do you think they start pulling back and not pumping out as many games, or do you think games as an entertainment is a different form, and because they haven't had a whole lot of games with these licensed IPs, let's say, Xbox One generation, like we got some, but we didn't see a ton of them. Do you think he continues to push forward with handing out IPs licensing to make video games? What do you think? Do you think it affects this side of things?
Um, so I'm gonna talk about both sides real quick because I
Yeah.
think with gaming I'm gonna say no because they're seeming more or so just getting results that they really were excited about with the Spider-Man games. And now they got Wolverine. I would say that Midnight Suns maybe not was as successful as they had
No.
originally wanted, but that being said, they're still confident about the long-term longevity of that game. And we found out that Marvel, thanks to an amazing interview on Iron Lord's podcast with the creator of Midnight Suns,
Right.
Marvel had actually approached them about making that game because they were fans of XCOM. So
Correct.
I think that the company that is Marvel Games, right, has to figure out a way to still have a reason for existing and keep doing things. And they don't make their own games internally, right? They're going out and seeking developers to make original, great new games within the Marvel universe, and a lot of these games haven't even come out yet. So I don't think it's as much on this side.
Okay.
However, I think from the movies side,
Yeah.
all that it's going to take is for one big, great new one to come out that is hugely successful and does amazing numbers again because it was really good, right?
Right.
The oversaturation, and Kevin Feige talked about this on the movie side as well, is like
Mhm.
there's pulling back from quantity and going to start focusing more on quality again, right?
Right. Which should
But
always be the
yeah,
case.
exactly. Because they started with Disney Plus launch, they started doing so much with that, and they started doing so much with the movies. They were doing like 4 movies a year and all these things, and I feel like that was too much to be able to retain the same level of quality people had come to expect from the Infinity Saga. And I feel like they're just pulling back to get that right a little bit. And when you just have one massive hit, you know, come out and everybody's like, "Oh, this is the greatest thing ever" again, then you're going to see the ball just keep rolling again. Money speaks. Right now, I think they're seeing the return on investment isn't as high as what they had before. And so they're probably going to pull back the reins on it and focus on maintaining the quality of what they have. And I think that's all it is, really. And yeah, is there oversaturation? Yes, because they've been pushing so many different things. What I would like to see is them start to create new franchises a little bit more within Disney as well.
Right.
They rely so much on Star Wars, so much on Marvel, so much on, um, you know, the old remakes of Disney movies and all this kind of stuff, you know, the classics and animated stuff and everything. But you see, sometimes the best things are, you know, are new, and we'll see what happens there. But I think we're still gonna see plenty of Marvel stuff. I don't think that means like, hey, there's gonna be this lack of stuff now. You know, we'll
No,
see.
I don't think so. I think I understand the business argument for pushing while you're hot, right? And doing as much as you possibly could. And it
Yeah,
looked like there was no stop, right? But I still have a hard time that nobody sat back and said, are we doing too much? Like,
yeah.
are we gonna have
Everybody wanted a
this
piece, and
fatigue
everybody wanted to
set
make
in,
their
right?
stuff.
Yeah. So I get that fact, but there is something. Again, I was happy when Disney first bought Star Wars before they destroyed my favorite franchise, right? I was happy because Lucas's way,
It meant you were going to get Star Wars
yeah,
stuff, right?
right, because Lucas's way was way too long, right? It took him
Yep.
way too long to do anything, right? But Disney went the complete opposite route. And again, there's other reasons why I hate it because they destroyed my franchise. But besides that, just let's say that I enjoyed it. They started pumping out so much Star Wars stuff too, not as much as MCU, but they started pumping out so much Star Wars stuff that it doesn't. I think there's a middle. It's like, where am I going with this? It's like Bethesda games. Everybody complains how long it takes to get their new favorite franchise from Bethesda, right? Whether it's
Yeah.
Fallout or Skyrim,
But
and
that's
now
what still
everybody's
makes them
upset
special,
because
right?
Starfield. But that's what makes them special, right? That lead up to that new game, and because you trust Bethesda to give you the experience that you fell in love with originally. Yes, you wish there was something in between, and yes, I agree that like an in between, like a Fallout New Vegas was perfect, right? An in between game was perfect, but let's just say that's not there. It's still a special day when Bethesda finally drops one of their games. And that's what makes them so special. Now, I can hear the argument, yeah, but Call of Duty is yearly, and look, it's the number one seller yearly. Right. I get that there are those types of games where people will buy them, Madden, 2K, all that stuff. They buy them yearly, and it's a holiday for everybody that only plays those games. But again, when it comes to movies, I still think Disney went way too much, way too fast, instead of, like you said, focusing on the quality, because I think that's the biggest. As somebody who doesn't care about the MCU at all, that's what I've heard. That's what I've read. That's what I've seen people complain about most is the Avengers stuff was great, but then it started dropping off. And sure, there was hits, right? Like WandaVision was a hit to a lot of people, right? But then there was a lot of misses too. Loki was a high point too, but there was a lot of misses in there too. And people could tell that the movies especially just weren't living up to it. By, again, the CGI quality, everybody started complaining about the CGI quality, that they started not having the same kind of experience at these movies and stuff. So I think that Disney just went too far. I just hope that they don't pull back on the games, because I do think there's so much more to explore in
Yeah.
games than per se the movies and TV shows. That and again, there were a lot of these franchises were underutilized for so long. The IPs weren't being used because, again, we went through the whole era where we got a lot of crappy IP, licensed IP stuff. But now that people understand how to make licensed IP, I want to see more of it. I do. Like, I'm excited for Wonder Woman, right? I'm excited to see
Yeah.
what they do with that stuff. I'm excited for new Star Wars games, right? Star Wars Outlaws is now high on my list of anticipated titles next year. From what I saw, it looks great. It looks fantastic. So I just hope they don't pull back, but I just thought it was interesting, and I wanted to get your opinion on, because I saw Iger's statements, and I was like, whoa, okay, big realization here. Just hope it doesn't affect gaming. That's all.
Yeah. Yeah. Finally, when these licensed games actually start getting good, right?
Yep.
Don't want to
Yep.
see them pulled back on.
Yep. Yeah, and you're right, Amit Kumar. There is a lot of people who buy Call of Duty and 2K and Madden every year, and that's all they do, bitch and complain, but yet they go out and buy it every year, right? It's still a big moment, like every year. Every year they go back, right?
Yeah.
And
I hate this fucking game that I spent 1,000 hours on.
Right.
Like,
right.
God, this is such a piece of trash. Hey, anybody getting on? I want to party up. Let's go.
Yeah.
Like
exactly.
we have our nitpicks about Diablo, and I'm just like,
of course.
That's all I can play right now.
But like Steele said, we're the 1%, right?
Yeah.
Or at least the top 5% of Diablo players, right? And so he's like, there's some of that too. After you play a game for 120, 150 hours, you're in end game, you're experiencing things that most of the regular people will. Right. They won't. Right. They won't pick up with that stuff. So Whoa, Mav. Guess what?
What?
You got anything else?
I don't think so.
No? Okay.
I think this deal's going to close. We're going to have an awesome week coming up in the next week.
Are you I forgot to tell everybody, by the way, I'm live from New Zealand. Are you going to New Zealand for some Exoprimal, by the way?
It's a thought.
Okay. I'm already in New Zealand.
I saw Steel playing that.
Yeah, Steel was already launching it. I traveled to New Zealand prior to the show, so just was wondering if you come over to visit us if you want to hop on some Exo. So
yeah. I just may visit New Zealand. I'll go book my plane ticket.
Okay. All right, good.
They've approved. They're gonna. Looks like they're gonna approve the ABK acquisition.
Yeah,
as well.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm friends with them.
So. Yep, exactly. Yes, soy two mangs. There we go. Yeah, Disney did not treat Star Wars properly at all. That has been a huge rant of mine for a long time, which I don't do anymore. Anyways, but yeah, I think we're gonna get some Exoprimal in. But you know what? Before we get everybody out of here, man, there's still over 200 people watching. Hey, special announcement, promotion for our brother from another 3-bit, right? Our brother from another 3-bit is premiering a brand new series. Again, for anybody who doesn't know, 3-bit is a dev. He also works in advertising, on commercials, etc. He's an animator. He has created his own animated story, and he's premiering episode number 1. And the series is called Console Wars. And tonight is called The Win. And it's about Microsoft and Xbox acquiring ABK. And he's premiering the first episode tonight, 10:30 Eastern. So 9:30 Central Time, 7:30 PST time over on 3-Bit's YouTube channel. So please, all 200 plus of you that are still here, go check out 3-Bit's show tonight.
Yeah. I put a link to his Twitter where he has the show.
Yeah, exactly.
Link.
Yep. Do that. Here I got a link to I think I can throw a link of YouTube in there too. Here's the here I'm throwing a link of the YouTube channel in there for you guys too. So go check that out. The Console Wars, 3-Bit presents Console Wars, episode 1, The Win, tonight. So please go check out 3-Bit. Brother 3-Bit puts a lot of work into his stuff, and I know it's gonna be freaking just amazing, whatever he does. It's gonna be incredible, Mav.
Yeah.
You remember his original Satya?
Oh yeah, when the deal like
the top of the
ZeniMax
building,
Bethesda got announced.
Yes, yes, it was
like,
incredible.
Make sure you use the words.
Exclusive. Some exclusive.
Some.
When we really now we know Phil behind the scenes.
Yeah, it's like all.
Anyways, great episode tonight. Thank you, everybody. Again, we had over 400 people here tonight, which is a record for PM in the PM. Unbelievable turnout tonight. Again, big week, big topics. Like Mav said, this news is going to be flying fast over tomorrow and through the weekend. I think stay tuned. If you're interested in this ABK deal, it's coming. Like, this is it. This is it right now. Pause. I know I just said it's coming, but it's pause. It is. The train is almost arrived at the station. I think Xbox is going to blow through that station, in fact, and right through the CMA and through the FTC. But we will be having a lot more of that coming up, obviously, tomorrow night. I'll let Mav talk about Xbox Ultimate, but thank you all for being here. Nothing but love and respect for everybody coming out. On your way out, if you haven't hit the like button, please do. We are over 200 likes. I'd like to see that grow a little bit. Again, share this out if you thought the conversation was interesting. Again, Mav and I freestyle a lot. It's more unprepared than a lot of places are, because that's how Mav and I like to do it. And that's the way our schedule works as well. But Mav and I just like to come in and kind of just bounce off of each other. So if you enjoyed it, please, it was great to see all the new faces in here, all the familiar faces as well. If you were lurking the entire time, again, same love and respect to every one of you, because this is why we do it. Without you, as I always say, it's just me and Mav sitting in Xbox Live having the same conversations, right? That's all we're doing in party chat. So, but we decided to do these shows because we actually want other people to enjoy it and bring their own thoughts and feelings and you know, different conversations to the table as well. So again, appreciate every single one of you. PM in the PM. This has been episode 79, July the 13th. Mav, Xbox Ultimate tomorrow night. Hopefully we'll have some more breaking news. I imagine we will definitely have some.
Yeah, I think the appeal decision will probably happen tomorrow, but we'll see.
We'll see. But what else
It
is
may
going
not.
on, Matt? What else you got going?
Xbox Ultimate is tomorrow night. We're gonna have a blast because there's a lot of excitement and energy with the family right now. Fun speculation, and you'll see a lot of our panel there tomorrow, hanging out, talking to ABK, talking about the closing that's going to be imminent in the next couple of days, and what that's going to mean for all of us as Xbox gamers and consumers in gaming. And besides that, Mondays we got Fun Speculation Podcast at 10 p.m. Eastern as well. By Monday, ABK could officially be part of Microsoft.
Ooh,
Crazy to think about what that show could be like on Monday as well. We also have tidbits on that show where we look ahead at the games coming out for the week. And then back here every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern with Pong, Soul, and I. And, you know, with all the energy and everything going crazy right now, you might see some more game streams popping up here on the channel. Been having fun streaming the last couple nights with some of this news and just playing some games as well, guys. So check that out. And what about you, Pong Soul?
Yes, sir. Special thanks to Caitlin for all the new emojis, by the way, too. Caitlin, they look freaking amazing. They look absolutely incredible. So thank you for all your hard work back there as well. You know
the
what?
God Howard one? Is that
I saw the God Howard. It's freaking awesome. I'm gonna put those in there right now because freaking God Howard is crazy. And of course, freaking the Psychonauts one that freaking just cracks me up. Anyways. No, what a great night. What a great show. Again, you can find me tomorrow night. Obviously, you know, on Xbox Ultimate, I will be there again. Hopefully we'll have some new news. It'll be kind of exciting either way. Again, the ripple effects are going to be huge no matter what happens, but obviously we expect it to be positive. So join us for Xbox Ultimate Saturday morning. It's living split screen. Split screen is all one word. Myself, my brother from another Steel Rain. We go live 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central Time. Bring that Saturday morning energy up. If you're just waking up, that's fine. Don't worry about it. Turn us on. We'll get you ready for your weekend. Steel and I love to talk 3+ hours. Normally we go 4. Last weekend, I think it was like 4:45 or something crazy like that. He and I like to talk a lot, and we try to come from different angles. And again, a lot of free flow, just like it is here. So be there for Living Split Screen. We are on mission 1K. We are over 900. We're approaching 1,000 subs. So join myself and Steel Saturday morning. Saturday night's the Shop Podcast, PTK Blams channel.
I'm going to be there.
Fuzzy Bill. Yes, you forgot about this. I was gonna
yes, thank you.
Fix that problem. PTK Blam, Fuzzy Belvedere, and myself, Saturday nights, PTK Blam's channel, the Shop. This week, 3-Bit and Mav are joining us. It's going to be a freaking blast, especially if we got good news from Friday and the PI is not push through. So we're going to have a fun time Saturday night, no matter what. 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 o'clock Central Time, the Shop Podcast every Saturday night, PTK Blam's channel. And the next week it starts all over again. You know the drill. Double Barrel Gaming, Mr. Boomstick Tuesdays, Xbox Factor, all good things green, 12 p.m. Eastern, 11 o'clock Central Time. I'm never there anymore, but I don't care. I'm a part of the fam over there. Love Boom. He just passed 13K subscribers. Congrats to Mr. Boomstick and Double Barrel Gaming and Mrs. Boomstick for all the hard work they do over there. Man, what a great time they always have on Tuesdays, though. Xbox Factor is going to be live next week, especially if good news is happening. So be there. And then, of course, Thursdays right back here for PM and the PM. Listen, y'all, it's a golden age of gaming. It really, really is. We've just getting started. My God, there's so much more coming. Freaking Starfield, Baldur's Gate 3. Oh, it's going to be such an incredible end of the year. Play what you love. Love what you play. Have a great Friday. Have a great start to your weekend. I'm going to talk to you all real soon. Mav, get us out of here, brother. Let's go play some Exo Prime.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you, everybody. Have a fantastic night.